Hello, good evening, and welcome back to another live stream edition of Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. If you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber family, welcome back. Welcome back. What is up, Bernadette? Thank you. Thank you for chiming in there. Good to see you. I know I haven't seen you all in a while, so thank you guys for your patience. I've been working on a very important project. It is my first publication since 2019, and I'll tell you what, this one has been a joy to bring through the creative process. But that creative process has rapidly come to a close, and I got an announcement in just a few minutes about that book. Okay, about that book. Now, before I begin, again, I want to welcome those of you who are new to the channel, those of you who found the description, the title, the thumbnail interesting enough to want to click in and see what's going on over here. And let me say this too. Welcome to those of y'all that are watching me from different continents. I'm located in the United States, as most of you watching know, but I've been getting a steady increase of individuals that are watching me from other continents. And I got to tell y'all, that means a lot to me. It's always nice to know that what you're talking about is actually making its way around the world. So thank you. What's up, Angie's Memes? Thank you for being here. Maya Reacts, thank you for being here. Thank you guys for being here. So I'm going to do what I normally do here, y'all. I'm going to set this thing off with a little bit of music and step away, grab a towel for myself. I brought the fan in here tonight, y'all, because y'all know how it is. It's in that summer, you know, I got a lot of sun. I got a lot of light. I get a lot of natural light into the house just from the sun. So in the summertime, it can work against you. It can work against you, you know, and I don't like to close the blinds and such because I like to get natural light. But that comes at a little bit of a trade-off because you get a little bit of that greenhouse effect. No matter what you have the thermostat set to, you're going to get a little of that greenhouse effect. So yeah, it can be problematic in the summer, but in the winter, it does just the opposite. I keep the windows, the blinds open and everything and let that natural light in. And that greenhouse effect actually saves me on the heating bill in the wintertime. So it kind of pinches me a little bit in the summer with the AC, but in the winter, it helps me out with the heating bill. So anyway, what's up, Maya? Yeah, we got you. We got you. BE Royalty. Thank you for being here, family. Thank you for being here. Let me do this, family. I'm so happy to be here with y'all. Let me grab me a towel. I'm going to hit y'all with a little bit of a different sound tonight. Y'all know I like to come with the old school. This is going to be one of my favorites, a classic from Patrice Rushen. Feels so real. Feels so real. And this little thing that I'm going to be talking about before we begin tonight's subject matter, I'm going to give y'all a little bit of a spoiler alert on an Apple Plus TV series that I've been watching since the pilot episode. I got to show y'all an interesting parallel between that show, especially season 3 here, and a very interesting passage of prophetic scripture. And then we're going to get on into the meat, all right? We're going to talk about why it's so important to use your voice in this season. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford, y'all. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back. And if you have not done so, please, family, help me out. Y'all know the drill. Tap that like button on your way in. That is going to trigger the algorithm and let more people know that we're live with Maddie's Rap tonight, all right? Thank y'all. I'll be right back. This is Feel So Real by Patrice Rushen. You're watching Maddie's Rap with author and storyteller Matt D. Talford. We'll be right back, family. All right, y'all, let's take it down. That's my girl, Patrice Rushen. She was one of my favorite artists growing up. All right. All right, we're back, y'all. Let's get this party started. We got 17 in the chat. That's a good number. That's a good number. Let me say some, let me see who we got in here, y'all. All right, we got B Royalty Karen. What's up, Karen? We got Bernadette, I spoke. Let's see, B Royalty. Lady Dagger Status, what's up? What's up? Nature Sounds for Relaxation, what's up? All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Let's get this party started. She said, I got so tired today, I had to rest again. I saw this notification and glad I'm not sleepy now. Yo, let me tell you something. I don't know what's going on with these cosmic radiation, these solar flashes, the Schumann resonance. Y'all, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but it hit me too, Lady Dagger Status. Let me tell you something. I was like, especially yesterday, I was like, you ever had them days where you're like, you know, you got stuff to do, but you're like, I'm scared to get behind the wheel. I don't know. Yo, y'all, listen, I'm going to keep it 100 with y'all. There have been days where, you know, and this is, you know, long ago in the past, but I remember it, so I try to be mindful of it. There are days when I was in corporate America and I'd leave work and be so tired, I would literally fall asleep at the stoplight and would wake up from somebody blowing the horn, you know. So I know that's dangerous. They tell you, and actually you can get you can get your license suspended for you get pulled over because you sleep in traffic, you know, behind the wheel. They can, you know, suspend your license for that. But thank God there were no accidents or anything like that. And, you know, so listen, just try to work through it. A lot of it is ascension symptoms. And I saw a pretty cool video by, what is that channel name? I can't remember it. Kaya something. I'm going to put it in the community post maybe tomorrow, y'all, or the day after, because I think I want to come right back and go live again tomorrow because I got this book announcement, which I'm going to be talking about here in just a second. So she said, yeah, that was for me. That was today for me. Yeah. So it's a lot going on. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. I know y'all are hearing a lot of people say that, but let me tell you something. This has got to be DNA upgrades. And I'll be talking about that in just a moment when I give y'all this spoiler alert about this show called, what is it called again? I'm tempted to tell y'all the character name, but the name of the show is Foundation. Y'all, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you've ever seen the Apple TV Plus show called Foundation. I know everybody doesn't have Apple TV. Some people aren't on the Apple platform, but it's a pretty nifty device. I love my Apple TV, one of the best devices I have, and integrates perfectly with the phone if you got an iPhone and if you've got a MacBook Pro or whatever. So it allows you to mirror to the screen and all kinds of cool stuff you can do with Apple TV when you're on that platform. But real Kia. That's it, Lady Dagger Status. Real Kia, that is her. So you probably have seen that video. She was talking about some of these ascension symptoms that people are having, but it really makes you wonder, you know what? Let me not get ahead of myself. So let me take a look at y'all. This it. Let me not say that because some of y'all know what I was about to say, right? Type something in the chat to let me know if y'all know what I was about to say that I zipped my lip on. Okay. I was about to say something that I know I should not say. I should never say on this channel. Okay. I've just learned I can't say it. I gotta do it and then talk about it after, but I can't say it up front. So anyway, yeah, that is real Kia. So let me do this. Let me take a look really quick at my note, and I don't think I'm gonna need my readers tonight, but let me start with this announcement first. Let me do a little bit of self advertising. Okay, let me do that up front because you know this platform ain't, you know, I'm not monetized. Y'all know how that goes. I ain't got no ads on here, nothing. But Hot Shot, what's up? She said, what it do? Matt, Lady Dagger Status, no B. Okay, what's up, family? Y'all come on in, check in, family. So let me give y'all this announcement really quick. Okay. I have told you guys that I've been working on one of the most important projects I've done in probably since I've been writing and publishing. And this dates back to 2015 with my first book, From Fear to Faith, a Survivor Story right there. That's my baby. But let me tell you something. I just finished penning a book. And do I want to show y'all the artwork? No, I'll show y'all the artwork tomorrow. I'll show y'all the cover art tomorrow. I'm not going to show you tonight because you can't purchase it tonight. However, beginning tomorrow, Monday, 7/21, Monday, July 21st, you will be able to pre-order. And when I say pre-order, I'm not talking, the launch date is going to be in September. I'll make an announcement about that in the days to come. Okay, so probably tomorrow. I'll announce that. The launch date is going to be in September. However, I am doing a special limited edition. Let me say that again because I rambled over my words. A special limited edition pre-release sale for people who want to get the book in advance, okay? For those who want to buy the book in advance, you will be the first ones with it. And this is a special limited edition, meaning you will only be able to get this edition through my website. The rest of the books, this one is going to come. This will be my first book that is hardbound. It'll be hardbound, paperback, and of course, ebook. Okay. Audiobook, for those of y'all that like audiobooks, I'll be working on something with that maybe in a month or two. And this is going to be something completely different. I'm not going through the platform because some of you may have heard me say this before in here. When you are an audiobook producer, you fall under the same rules that apply to recording artists under the Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. When you got an audiobook, it is a piece of recorded art. So the profit margins for the artist and producer and writer, myself, I got all of those titles, and still the profit margin is really slim. It's very slim. So I won't be going through the system anymore. I'll tell y'all exactly how, those of you that prefer audiobooks, how you will be able to get it in such a way that the artist, the producer, the creator, the content creator is receiving what they are worth, not what some platform that says, well, I'm distributing your stuff to the world, so this is what I'm going to give you. We ain't doing that anymore. I'm done with that. I put way too much work into that audiobook to fall under that. And I had no idea up front that it was going to be that serious, but it's that serious. But it's cool. It's cool. Whatever. Anyway, let me not hold y'all anymore. Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let me not hold y'all anymore. A lot of y'all know that probably back in 2022, I did a series of videos about divine unions, divine counterpart relationships. Some titled them twin flame relationships, that sort of thing. I have a whole playlist of that information on my YouTube channel. I have compiled 4 years of research, interviews, and such into a very powerful resource that is going to give you the ability to unlock the mysteries of this very special divine type of divine eternal type of partnership. I'm so excited, y'all. This has been the most spiritual writing experience I've ever had in my life. And I've been writing since I was a child, getting awards since I was a child, getting awards in school, in grade school, in high school for writing. Okay. I'm an award-winning published author. Out of all the writing I've ever done in my life, this is the single most spiritual experience this has ever been. And y'all, I'm so excited because a lot of you have been hitting me up. There are a few people I kind of coach on the side, and I didn't get no money for it. And a lot of you have been hitting me up and just, hey, Matt, when are you going to write a book about this? I ain't writing a book. When are you going to write a book about this? Nah, I'm not writing a book about it. When are you going to write a book about this, Matt? No, I'm not a coach. There's coaches out there to do that. Matt, you've been giving me some phenomenal advice. When are you going to write a book? Y'all, it's here. It's here. Okay. So I won't show y'all the artwork tonight. You can't purchase it tonight, but that link to pre-order the pre-release edition will be available to you tomorrow. Okay. And I'll talk about that when I go live tomorrow night. So I'm super excited, you all. This is the one you've been waiting for. All right. This is the one you've been waiting for from yours truly, Matt D. Talford. All right. I'm so excited to share that with you all. So that aside, that link will be available. And again, that will be for the ability to order pre-release editions. The pre-release is going to come out roughly about 3 weeks before the official release. And I know a lot of people want to get their hands on that early, and you want to be one of the first ones. And again, this is a limited edition. What's going to be different about it? These are going to be, okay, my guys are telling me not to say it. You'll have to read about it tomorrow. It'll be in the copy on my website, talfordarts.com. So I'll send that link out tomorrow. It's not up there right now, but it will be there tomorrow. But this one is going to be unique. It'll be separate. For starters, it'll be the only way you can get an autograph or signed copy. You won't be able to get that from Amazon or whatever other retailer is carrying the printed book. And of course, if you're audiobook or ebook, you won't be able to get it signed. But for those of you that want signed copies, you'll only be able to get them. And that's going to be a special limited edition release that you'll only be able to get through my website. Why do I call it limited edition? Because I'm only going to print a limited number of those annually. So I'll tell y'all that number right now. For those of you who are familiar with that journey, or you know people on that journey, you know, and those of you that are familiar with synchronicities, you know that 1111 is a powerful synchronicity. I will only be printing 1,111 copies of that. That's the max that I will be making available of the limited edition on an annual basis. So that'll be now through the end of the year, and it's only going to be available for pre-order. Okay, so I will let you guys know when we do those runs, and there'll be like a once a month thing. There'll be a period where you can order, and then once that period is closed, you won't be able to order again until the next month. And we're going to continue that until we've reached that threshold of 1,111 copies, and then after that, they'll all be the standard edition hardcover, paperback, or of course ebook. So that's all I got on that, y'all. Let me see who else we got in the chat. Bella, what's up? Jojo, what's up, brother? What's up? What's up? All right. So now with that out of the way, y'all, let me go ahead and get on to tonight's topic. Jupiter and Gemini. And this is, I'm talking tonight, Vedic and sidereal Jupiter, okay? Vedic and sidereal astrology here. Y'all know that I'm predominantly, not even predominantly, I'm just going to go out and say it. I'm a tropical astrologer. I do tropical astrology. If there's somebody that wants like an in-depth Vedic type of reading, I usually refer those. I got other, I don't call them partners because we don't partner, but I got other astrologers that I follow that are solid in their Vedic astrology. And anybody that says, hey, you know what, I want to get a Vedic reading, I don't even touch it. I send it to those people because that's their expertise. That's their wheelhouse. That's what they love to do. My lane is tropical astrology, and I won't get into the comparisons tonight. But tonight I'm talking about Vedic astrology. And the only reason I'm doing that is because if you're looking at the tropical astrology chart or the tropical astrological transits, Jupiter is currently in Cancer. We talked about that some videos ago. But when you look at the sidereal, Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini. Okay, it's usually a sign behind or whatever. It's about to move into no. I'm sorry. I take that back. I'm thinking about the solar transit. Yeah, Jupiter is in Gemini on the sidereal side, and that's very important. And I'm going to talk about that why, because there is no time like the present to use your voice. Let me read the description box copy, which is not a lot tonight. Okay, in this live edition of Maddie's Rap, I will share a couple of stories that serve as the backdrop for why now is the time for you, you watching, to be mindful of your thoughts and to use your voice to command your reality. All right. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So, BE Royalty said, I'm looking forward to that book, Matt. It will be my born day gift to myself as a September baby. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, BE Royalty. Thank you so much. I can't wait to see that order come in so I can sign that for you. So thank you. Now, let's see. Announcements out of the way. Let me give you guys the opening scripture because y'all know what we do over here. Don't even front. Y'all already know. For my new people watching, I'm heavy into scripture on this channel, but oddly enough, I'm not religious and I don't consider myself. I used to wear that Christian label. I dropped that label several years ago. So do not call me religious just because I read scripture, the Bible, and the ancient texts from which it was derived. And not just the 66 books that's in the standard canonized Bible. There are a lot of other books that were left out. But back to my point, the Bible and the ancient text from which it was derived have always been spiritual in nature. All right. Not religious. They're not religious. These are spiritual teachings. Some history. I won't get nitpicky here. Yes, of course, there's some history. But for the most part, these are spiritual texts that cover spiritual principles. And they also happen to cover a lot of prophecy. And that's exactly what I do with my breakdown of the scriptures on this channel. I talk prophecy and I illustrate or shine a spotlight on the spiritual meaning of these scriptures, not the religious dogma that you can find in any Christian church or any Hebrew Israelite camp. Them, because they're very dark. The funny thing, y'all, is they are, and I'm gonna get on them for just a minute because they come at me too. So here it is. All right, Aries, what we got? Neptune and Aries. Neptune covers spirituality. Aries is a sign of the warrior. So let me weaponize this message real quick. Oh, I see a lot of the camp brothers and the people that push this Hebrew Israelite doctrine, which is what it is doctrine. And they like to point the finger of blame at Christianity or Christians, or say these crooked A pastors and these churches, and they're just as dogmatic. The difference is one set of dogmatic principles is based in the Old Testament. The other is based in the New Testament. But for them to call Christians, all these religious people in the dogma, it's the pot calling the kettle black. But I'm going to leave that alone. All right. Look, so I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there. I know I took y'all all the way around the block to get you to the house next door. That's what I do in real life, and that's what I do as an author. All right, but y'all gonna love it. Y'all gonna love this one. All right, so here we go. So now let me read this opening scripture. This opening passage of scripture comes from the book of Proverbs, one of my favorite. All right, favorites for my English professors watching out there. Okay, here we go. Here we go, y'all. Thank y'all for being here tonight. So happy to see y'all. Y'all know it's been, whenever I'm away from y'all for a little bit too long, I'm like, whoa, wait, what you doing, Matt? What you doing? What are you doing? Get back in there. Get back on the mic. All right, let's go to Proverbs chapter 18, and I'm going to share this to the screen as soon as I bring it up. Thank you again for being here. I know y'all could be anywhere on a Sunday night, but y'all out here hanging with Matt D. Talford at Maddie's Rap, and I do not take that lightly, family. Much respect. Okay, now let me share this to the screen, and we're going to get this party started, y'all, because the sooner we get the party started, the sooner we can get it finished. All right, Proverbs. Let's highlight this because this is an important one to have highlighted. Let's go ahead and highlight this. All right, Proverbs 18 and 21. A lot of y'all are familiar with this. Let me make sure it's showing on the screen because y'all know this thing be tripping sometimes. Okay, we're good. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Let me read that one more time because we're talking about the importance of using your voice in this season. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. That's Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21, and that was from the King James Version. Now, why is that important? Why does that apply to what we're talking about tonight? It's right there in front of your face. I can't make it any plainer than that. You have the ability to speak anything that you want to appear into your reality, into your existence. You have the ability to actually speak that thing into existence. What does the scripture say in the book of Genesis? It says, let us make man in our own image and our own likeness. Now, I say this a lot. I'll say it again. The image is the appearance. The likeness is the functionality. So if the creator of this realm that we live in called Earth spoke it into existence, and he said, let us create man, not just in our own image, but our own likeness, you too have the ability to create with your voice. Okay, so that is the importance of this. Now, in the same token, things that you want to leave your reality, things that you want to leave your existence. I said things, not people, because some people take it to the extreme. All right, I said things that you want to leave your reality, things that you want to leave your existence. If you have the power to speak into existence those things that you want to appear, you also have the power to use your voice to make things that no longer serve you disappear. All you have to do is speak with a command voice. Speak it from your gut. Why? That gut is that what? Solar plexus chakra. That solar plexus is your inner sun. That's your inner sun. The sun is responsible for creativity. The sun rules over the 5th house of astrology. The 5th house is the house of creation. But guess what that solar plexus chakra also does? It also knows. It also knows. I call it the first eye. I did a video on that. Some people say the third eye is the first eye. I say that gut is the first eye. That gut is the first thing that attaches you to your mother in the womb. That connection to your gut is there before your eyes form. It's there before your brain forms. So I call that your first eye. Your gut always knows. Man, something in my gut is telling me that's because your gut knows. Think about it. Your gut is never wrong, and your heart is never wrong. Some people say my heart lied to me. No, your heart didn't lie to you. Your ego did. Your mind did. You wanted something to be opposite of what your heart was telling you to be true. You wanted something to be opposite of what your gut was telling you to be true. So that is how you create. In the same token that you can speak into existence things through the power of speaking from your guts, speaking, I'm going to get to that in a minute. You also have the power to speak things out of your existence and watch it happen. Okay? Now, so let me do this. Let me move on to the next thing. Let's see. I got some stories I'm going to share with y'all, but first, I want to come back to this. I'm not going to call it a preview, but I'm going to say spoiler alert. I didn't see any thumbs up in the chat there when I was asking if you guys had seen. Bella's got a clap there. Maybe Bella, maybe that means a thumbs up. I don't know. But I didn't really see any thumbs up from anyone that said, hey, I'm familiar with that show, Foundation, on Apple TV Plus. Great show. Great show. And y'all know a lot of times I like to watch these different series and these different movies because I feel like they give you clues. Okay, they give you clues. The writers, they carefully hide, if you will, different narratives within the narrative. And those that have eyes to see and ears to hear, they pick up exactly what that writer was putting down. Your boy Matt picked up something that the writer was putting down in Foundation. So spoiler alert, season 3, if you don't want to hear this part, you may want to mute it. I don't know, for the next, it's 31 minutes. I'll tell you what, you may want to mute it from here, mute, and then I'll put a thumbs up when I'm done talking, okay? All right, so that might help you out. Spoiler alert, Foundation. There is a character, and Foundation is like this futuristic, but pre-futuristic show or whatever. It is like the predecessor to the Star Wars saga, is the way I read it initially in season 1. It's the predecessor to the Star Wars saga. So in this, the one of the main characters this season, season 3, we actually saw him introduced in season 2, but they're one of the main characters in season 3, and he punches you in the face right out the gate in season 3, episode 1. He is a villain that goes by the name of the Mule. The Mule, okay? The Mule. Now, when you look at it and you start really thinking about what he's doing, one would ask themselves, is he really a villain or is he a hero? When you look at who he's antagonizing with these special powers that I'm about to tell you guys about, okay? This is all in, this all goes together. This all goes together. No coincidences, all right? The Mule, in his first scene in season 3, episode 1, he appears out of the wood line and he's facing an army, a bunch of ground soldiers with their laser guns and all of this stuff. And then there's their drop ships that they came down onto this planet from are hovering above, and they've got these huge plasma cannons that they can use to take down whatever enemy they're going to encounter. But they see this one guy coming out of the woods, and they're asking him, you know, what are you doing here by yourself? And da-da-da-da-da. I'm not going to get all into y'all know I'm probably going to butcher it anyway, to be honest with you, trying to remember what he said. I am a Mercury and Sagittarius, okay? Anyway, we talking about that tonight too. Anyway, he's confronted by this commander and threatened. And they're like, look, you came by yourself. He said, I only need to be by. He said, you don't have an army. He said, the commander said, you don't have an army. The Mule says, I don't need an army. I don't need an army. Now, what he proceeds to do when they start laughing at him, he's explaining to them how he has already put a thought into the minds of the pilots of those ships. He said, in any moment now, he said, I've told your pilots to start shooting at each other, and they're going to blow each other out of the sky, and you're not going to have any ships. So, commander's looking at him like he's crazy, and he looks at his little co-commander or whatever, or underling or whatever, and they're laughing at each other. And he tells the ships to fire on him or something like that. And so he just says, I told you what I just did. Or he says something to the effect of, they're about to do it right about now. And then you see these ships turn and start blasting each other out of the sky. So next, the commander, in horror, he commands his ground troops to fire at the Mule. The Mule says, why do you think I would, or something to the effect of, why do you think I would command your ships to blow each other out of the sky and not do the same thing to your soldiers? Start shooting each other. And the soldiers start shooting each other. And they blast each other until finally the last person left is the commander. The Mule wants his ring. So he walks up and he says, that's a nice ring, give it to me. But it's stuck on the commander's finger. He can't get it off. So then he says, you know what to do. And this commander proceeds to bite his whole finger off. Okay, and then he hands it over to the Mule. The Mule takes the ring off. He chucks the finger. Oh, no. The commander spit the after he gets the ring off, he spits the finger out of his mouth. That's what happens. And now, so he's getting ready to walk away, and he says, all right, you're gonna shoot yourself. He says, you're gonna unalive yourself, and he says, you're gonna do that before he said, just take your time, because he said you're gonna do that to yourself. So he turns around and walks away, and this commander, lo and behold, he unalives himself with his sidearm. Now, why are you bringing that up, Matt? We're talking about no time like the present to use your voice. I'm not telling y'all that that's what y'all are going to do, but I say that to say for years, I have been saying that there are two sides to every coin, okay? And I'm speaking specifically of those of you that have these powerful spiritual placements that are tied to Cancerian placements, Scorpionic, and Piscean. So if you got major planets in, or depending on what house too, but I'll just deal with the planets. If you've got major planets in Pisces, Scorpio, or Cancer, for years, I made this observation years ago. I said, you know what? Those particular placements, especially when they're in the moon, give you, hang on one second, y'all. All right, y'all, pardon that distraction. My dog, the door wasn't all the way closed and my dog pushed it open. So anyway, I'm back. Now, to get back to my point, I've been saying for the longest time that those placements, because they allow you to feel, if you're Cancer, you can feel what others are feeling, especially when they're in the moon, but other placements as well. If you've got that, those Cancerian placements, you're an empath. You can feel what others are feeling, literally. You can pick up the energy of an environment, all of that stuff, literally. Whatever's going on, especially if it's an extreme, you feel it in your body, okay? And then you've got the Scorpionic placements that are the seers. They can see through any activity that anybody's doing. They can see through intent. They can see through activity. They can see through intent. The Scorpios, they're seers, okay? And then, of course, the Piscean placements, they're the psychics. They know what you're thinking. They know what's on your mind. They don't even know how they know it. That is the defensive or the receiving portion of those gifts. But the way my mind thinks, I've always said, you cannot have a receiver. There's no such thing as a receiver without a transmitter. There's no such thing as a receiver without a transmitter. Okay. Now, of course, there is. I mean, some of y'all gonna get funny out there and say, "Well, your radio in your car is a receiver." But guess what? There's a transmitter that's sending the signal to your radio in your car so that you can pick up whatever's being transmitted. So again, there's no such thing as a receiver without a transmitter. So with that being said, I figured out years ago that sometime in the future, those with those abilities would have something unlocked in their DNA that gives them the offensive capability or the ability to use those gifts offensively. Now, we saw that in Foundation with the mule. So a person with Cancerian, an empath in the future will be able to make whomever they desire to feel something that they want them to feel. A Scorpio will be able to make someone do whatever it is that they want them to do. And a Pisces will be able to put a thought into someone's mind. I've been saying that for years. And so it just made me wonder if certain nefarious individuals who pushed a narrative in 2020 that got a considerably large number of people around the world to take their suggestion, y'all put that where it goes, to take their suggestion, and it was dealing with DNA, okay? DNA. It made me wonder if the reason they had a software guy involved was so that he could, I don't know, implant a virus that would turn off, a software virus, that is. Virus, how funny. A software virus that would turn off future capabilities so that those things can't be done. Because guess what? If what I saw the mule do in season 3 of episode 1 of Foundation is coming down the pike, then it doesn't matter what the conventional weaponry is. It doesn't matter. Now, let me show you where I think that shows up in scripture. Let's bring my Bible app back up, and we're going to slide over to the book of Zechariah, okay? This is just a little aside, but it kind of feeds into what we're talking about. Because the mule, he gave a command with his mouth, and he also implanted a thought. Okay, and we're going to be talking about that Gemini placement in just a moment here. Okay, let's see. Let's go to Zechariah, y'all. I'm going to bring that up. This reference is going to be Zechariah chapter 12, verse 4. Watch this. Thank you all for being here tonight. Okay, let me share this to the screen. All right. It is sharing. Okay. Now, Zechariah 12 and 4. In that day, saith the Most High, I will smite every horse with astonishment and his rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah and will smite every horse of the people with blindness. Okay. Now it doesn't say what people there. So you can go down to the 5th verse and try to make some sense of who the people are in that last portion of that sentence in verse 4 by reading, and the governors of Judah shall say in their hearts, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength. In the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts, their God. So that next sentence would clarify that verse 4, because that verse 4 would make you think that he's smiting those of the house of Judah, but it's not. It's the enemies. Now, again, I'll read that again. In that day, saith the Most High, I will smite every horse. The horse is what? In ancient times, the horse is what the combatant rode in on. Okay, so the horse in effect was an organic vehicle. I will smite every vehicle with astonishment and his rider with madness. If it's a flying machine, it's the pilot. I saw that in episode 1 of season 3 of Foundation last night. So if y'all are into those futuristic shows or whatever, y'all like sci-fi, whatever, y'all check that out. I thoroughly enjoy that show. That's why I'm still watching it. So I wanted to add that, y'all. Y'all check that show out if you get a chance. It's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. It's got some religious sub themes in it too. Because in it, again, I'm playing a little spoiler here. Oh, let me go ahead and put thumbs up. Okay. So if you had muted it because you didn't want to hear it, thumbs up now. So now you can go back. Now, you can turn your volume back on. So when you look at that show, there's a lot of religious themes, religious versus spiritual themes in there as well. There's a little bit of historical, I think, leaning toward the empire being ancient Rome. And then, some of the people they were going after were people that did not want to fall under their subjugation. Some of those themes are there. So it's a very interesting show, very well written. The acting is phenomenal. So y'all check that out if you get a chance. That's called Foundation, and it's on Apple TV+. Now, pardon me. So we're going to move on here. We're going to move on. Now, let me pull up my notes here, and we're going to keep this party going. I got that part knocked out. Now, I am going to share with you guys just a few stories, and I saw a Tora Girl pop in there. So, Tora Girl, I'll be talking about you tonight in a good way. Let me, continuing in this theme of the importance of using your voice in this season. There's no time like the present to use your voice. I'm going to give you guys 3 short stories, very short, to set the backdrop for what I'll be talking to you about with regards to the astrological transit and how it's going to affect you based on your chart. Now, let me check some comments really quick. Let's see. We got. Let's see. Where are we? What did I pop in at? Let's see. Real Kai, I got that one. Let's see. What's up, Hotshot again? Got Maya's comments. Please keep us posted. Yes, Lady Dagger status. I certainly will. I'll be back on here tomorrow night because I got another one I want to share with you guys. And that one, I'll give you a sneak preview now. That's going to be talking about where in your chart to find the optimal way that you solve problems. Everybody can try to solve problems the same way, but some people are going to be better at it than others. And it's because they're operating in alignment with the energy that is them. What's the energy that is you? It can be found in your natal chart. Okay. Some people say, hey, this person solved that problem like that. I want to do it like they did. You're not going to be as successful with them as they are because they're doing it the way they do it. But the way you do it is different. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I thought about combining the two, but I said, nah, these are separate themes. Let me separate them. So that's coming. And I will have the link to the book available tomorrow in that video, Lady Dagger status. Next up, let's see. I did see JoJo check in. What's up again, JoJo? Where we at? Bella, what's up, Bella? Bella is here. She said, Matt, looking spiffy. Thank you, Bella. I appreciate that. I try to clean up. Since I'll be telling you a story about my dad here, let me give you a story right now, Bella, real quick. If you had seen me several days ago, I'll just say several days ago, my dad hit me up, and that's coming up. That's coming. You know what? I'll save that part because I'll be telling that story. I'll save it. I'll tell you why I cleaned up, but it's funny the effect parents have on you sometimes. Let me keep going. All right. Let's see what we got here. BE Royalty says she's looking forward to it. Got that one. Hot Shot said, I was thinking about us not seeing a brother in a hot minute. I'm glad you popped up. Absolutely. You know, I can't let y'all down. Tor Girl is in the house. Thank you, Tor Girl. I'm gonna be spotlighting you. I'm gonna be spotlighting you tonight, but in a good way. In a good way. Okay. What else we got? All right. So y'all just checking in with each other. She said, wow, you always thinking and questioning, Matt. Great point. Yeah, that's just my nature. That's my nature, Lady Dagger Status. Ask questions. You know why? Because my theme for life. And y'all hear me talk about this a lot. I say it a lot in my writings, and I say it verbally. With every what, there's a connected why, right? If you the why leads to understanding. With every what, there's a connected why. If you don't ask why, then it's easy to judge and misjudge more often than not because you don't ask the question. So that's why I ask a lot of questions. Anyway, so JoJo said energy-based weapons is what they think will. Energy. JoJo, I want you to clarify that a little further. I think I know where you're going. JoJo. I think what you're suggesting is that the people who are into the weapon stuff, the manufacturers now, their next phase is energy. They're moving from ballistic weapons as we know them today, lead and gunpowder-based weapons, and moving into more, sophisticated energy type weapons. But again, no. What does the scripture say? It says, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but are mighty through God to the tearing down of strongholds. So if you've got a weapon that is not carnal, it's a spiritual weapon. Guess what? Everything that exists in physical form began in spirit form and was manifest into the physical. So guess what? A spiritual weapon is always going to defeat a physical weapon, always. So that was to let them know to whom that letter was written. Hey, why don't forget about trying to fight this enemy with carnal, aka physical weapons, because they're too big and too strong, and they're too good at it. It's what they do well. You gotta fight them with another weapon. And y'all, this is why I've been on this channel. Y'all, we are moving into another season. In case you hadn't figured it out, okay? A lot of y'all that's getting these ascension symptoms. You already notice your body is changing. A lot of y'all are aging backwards. A lot of you do not look your age. But let me stay on my point. Okay. And I lost it. Yeah, that's that Mercury and Sagittarius. Anyway, yeah, the point I'm making is a spiritual weapon is Matt, where were you going? You were saying that a lot of these spiritual gifts, and it'll come back to me. Never mind. Let me keep going. She said, "Uh-oh, you're coming out swinging, Matt." Talking about that 2019 event, people lined up. Yeah, 20. Yep. Rolled up. Sure did. Bella said he must have said you've been under a rock grinding and clean up. It'd be like, I'm gonna tell you what he said in just a minute, Bella. So JoJo said my comment cut off, but yes, like the movie Power, they think energy-based weapons will work. My bad. I got you. Yeah, that's the point I'm making. Energy weapons, not that. Listen, I was telling people back when I was still in corporate America, and I wasn't even really into, like, I didn't know nothing about spirituality then, y'all. I just knew that I was transitioning away from religion because I felt like the pastors were part of the problem and were steering people that have a certain identity, who therefore have certain things coming to them based on their identity. This is why for years I've been saying prophecy and identity are all that matter. If a pastor in there still preaching prosperity gospel, well, he's preaching the gospel of a system that's falling, that's going to crash and go away. The financial system as we know it. And then they talk about, oh yeah, we're going to transition. They're going to switch everybody over to digital. You think the Most High going to let y'all keep running the planet and y'all done ran into the ground? It's all going away. Go read Daniel chapter 2. I've broken that down a number of times. So, I mean, it anything that's based in that is going away. It's going away. So, yeah. Great point. Let me get back on point so I don't get scatterbrained. I'm caught up in the comments, y'all. So, let me go to story number 1. And Bella, this is for you. This is the ice cream story. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm still laughing about what my dad said to me. So, actually, it was last Wednesday. Excuse me, y'all. That water went down the wrong way. Hang on. We're good. We're good. So Houston, we don't have a problem. Y'all give me a second, let my voice recover. Y'all know how it is when you drink it too fast and it goes down the wrong way. Sorry, y'all. I got this mic right up in y'all ear. My bad, y'all. For those of y'all listening with headphones on. Anyway, so this is last Wednesday. My dad hits, and now, you know what? Let me jump right there. No, I'm gonna come back. Last Wednesday, my dad hits me up, and he calls me up out of the blue and says, "Hey, son, what are you doing right now?" I said, "I'm chilling, I said, "I'm done with work, just kind of chilling, just winding it down." He says, "You want to go get some ice cream?" I said, "Sure." How soon you want to meet? He said, "Meet me in 30 minutes, meet me a half hour. We're going to go to the ice cream spot." All right. So let me tell y'all how that happened. This is why I'm telling you. This is why I said in that description box copy, this is why I said, be mindful of your thoughts and use your voice to command your reality. Let me tell y'all how that ice cream thing happened. Some of y'all watching are non-believers. You're going to say it was a coincidence, and that's your right. I'm not here to argue with you or debate. You have every right to interpret what I'm about to tell you however you want to tell it. I mean, however you want to interpret it. It's your mind, your life, your reality. Interpret it however you want. I'm telling you what it was. Okay. Now, probably about 30 seconds before my dad called me, I sat up. I was in one of my favorite positions. I'm on the sofa now. I got my feet up. I got YouTube on, looking at whatever I look at on YouTube. And I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, man? Today would be a good day to go get some ice cream with my dad. And y'all, literally 30 seconds later, he calls me and he says, "Hey, boy, you want to go get some ice cream?" It scared the crap out of me. It did. It scared the crap out of me. By the way, we're gonna talk about me saying scared the crap out of versus saying scared the out of. That's coming up next. Another dad story. Y'all know I gotta get y'all a story because I'm a storyteller. That's what I do. So yeah, that is how that happened, y'all. I'm telling y'all, these gifts are coming online. I told y'all about maybe 2-3 lives ago. Do not believe the hype when they tell you these phones are tapped into your body and whatever you're thinking is coming up on the phone. If you speak it, it's going to come up because the microphones are hot. They're always listening. So if you say I need or I want, if you in one of them apps, which I'm not going to name on here, it's going to show you an ad probably within 15 minutes advertising to you that very thing that you said that I think I might need or I think I want. That's one reason why I took that particular app off my phone. Okay. I don't have it on the phone. Don't have it on any of my devices. Haven't had it on any devices for 4 years now. 4 years. So anyway, they love to tell you that your devices are connected to you, whether you realize it or not. And the things that you're thinking are showing up on your devices. No. I'm gonna put my foot down. I'm gonna draw a line in the sand again, because I said this on another live stream, and say, no, that's not how it's happening. What is happening is the advancement of the age. Okay, the advancement of the age, the thinning of the veil, and because the divine feminine energy of this realm is rising as the divine masculine, which ain't all that divine anymore, it seems, is waning. Okay, and when I say that, I'm not knocking my men out there, my males. I'm a man's man myself. Y'all know that. Okay, but what I'm saying is all of this senseless, useless killing and stuff, that's masculine energy. That's not feminine energy. So this is the type of thing that happens as these ages turn and the opposite or the alternate energy takes over in the realm. It happened toward the end of the age of Aries and the advent of the age of Pisces. Okay, where it started doing. Listen, the last time feminine energy was running the planet, as it started to wax old, you started seeing more Jezebelian energy, wicked, using the feminine energy in the wrong way. So it happens, y'all. It's just a part of the natural eternal cycles. Eternal. I'm not going to get into the whole arguing with the church talking about you live one time and you living to get to heaven, or you don't want to die and go to hell. We ain't going to deal with that. I've dealt with that enough on this channel. These are eternal cycles. We are eternal beings. We are already in eternity. We're not living to get to eternity. We're living an experience that is akin to grade school, where you're trying to advance so that you can move on perhaps to another reality, do something that requires a little bit more advanced learning. That's how I look at it. So anyway, to get back to my point, as this veil thins and as the divine feminine energy in the earth begins to rise, you are seeing more things like telepathy, which is a product of the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra, number 6. That's telepathy. Okay, so you're starting to see more as your vibration is high, as you're tapped in, as you're moving closer to that Christ consciousness. Your abilities, your spiritual gifts are becoming more sensitive and more accurate. So I know I'm not the only one. Some of y'all are thinking about people and then they're calling you just like that. And I know some people are going to say that's not new, but some of y'all are probably advanced beings anyway that came here for special purposes. I'm going to be talking about that tonight based on what, house you have this in or that or the third or whatever. I'm going to get to that. So anyway, that's story number one. That's story number one. And that is all about that Jupiter and Gemini. Let me just touch on this because I didn't do it up front. I told y'all I got off on a tangent telling you about my preference being tropical over sidereal. Again, the sidereal Jupiter placement right now is in Gemini. So check your sidereal chart and see if you want to check it. I'll bring that up on the screen. Y'all just give me if I see maybe 3 thumbs up, I'll do a live. I'll bring up the Astro Seek, which is one of my favorites, and I'll show you how to pull up your sidereal chart. And I'll just make up a date of birth. I'm not going to show you my chart on the screen here, but I'll make up a date of birth and pull up a sidereal chart and show you guys how that works. Okay, so just wanted to get that out of the way. So that's story number one. Remember, your thoughts right now are becoming more and more powerful as you raise your frequency. So things that you desire, especially if you got certain placements, if you think it, you can get it. It's going to come in just like that. I was shocked to see that phone call come in 30 seconds. It wasn't, I'm telling y'all, I promise y'all, it wasn't even a whole minute. I had that thought. Then here comes the phone ringing. My dad is spiritual too. He's spiritual too. He a life path 11. That's a very spiritual. Now he ain't into none of that life path. I can't even mention that around him. Don't tell him nothing about no life path. Don't tell him nothing about no sun sign, moon sign, Mercury sign. He don't want to hear any of that. So I'm like, all right, well, at least I have the knowledge. He ain't got to know it. That's my place here. That ain't his. His place was to get me to where I am in life. And all right, Dad, I got it from here. You can ride in the back. I got it from here. So anyway, that was story number one. Moving on to story number two. And I'll check the comments once I get through these 3 stories, and we'll go through the actual transit stuff, and we'll get off of here. Story number 2, Torah girl. You're on the spotlight tonight, Torah girl. Let me do something, y'all. This is the importance. We're talking about the importance of using your voice in this season. There's no time like the present to use it. Watch this. So let me share this story with y'all. Some of y'all saw the community post, my last community post a couple days ago, where I put up the image of 3 tarot cards. One of them was the Hermit card. The other one was the 8 of Pentacles, and the other one was the 4 of Swords. So Torah girl commented under there. Again, shout out to you, Torah girl. She said, I said, when y'all see these 3 cards in the post, I said this, when y'all see these 3 cards, y'all will know what type of energy I'm in right now. And that was just a post to keep y'all informed as to why I had not been live in over a week. Okay. So Torah girl commented and she said, I see Taurus energy in there. And so Matt, who is sometimes literal to a fault, I'm not seeing what she is seeing. So I come back and say, well, no, those cards are, yeah, there's definitely earth energy, but you missed Torah girl. I'm picking on myself here. Okay, I pick on other people, I pick on myself too. I'm like, yeah, well, you missed Torah girl because I ain't say it like that, because Torah girl is my homie. I don't, I'm gonna keep it like I'm talking to family. So matter of fact, let me pull it up real quick. I don't have to put it on the screen here, but so I'm not guessing. Let me pull this up. All right, give me a second here. Because this was a learning moment for me. And I wanted to, when I saw this, I said, you know what, I gotta share this, y'all. This goes perfectly with my with what I'm talking about. Hang on, let's see here. Let's hang on. My channel posts. Okay, let's see the comments. So Torah girl said, I told you about the card. She said, Shabbat Shalom, that looks like Taurus energy. So here's Matt being over literal to a fault. I said, you got that right, Torah girl. Both the Hermit and the 8 of Pentacles are associated with Virgo energy. I said you got the right element, Torah girl. Both the Hermit and the 8 of Pentacles are associated with Virgo energy. The 4 of Swords is Libra energy. And then I had to walk it back. I said, you know what? I feel you now. The overall combined energy is Taurus. Remember the video I did that talked about how your 8th house sign talks about how you recharge and recover, whatever. I'm an 8th house Taurus. Thank you, Taurus girl, blah, blah, blah. But it still went over my head. It still went over my head. So I sat with it. And, I replay stuff sometimes in my mind the next morning or something like that as I'm waking up, because I usually meditate in the right after sunrise or right before sunrise. Whatever time I wake up, I'll sit there and meditate for a while, whatever. Anyway, so to get me back or bring it back around, I'm thinking, and I said, you know what, man? Taurus girl just taught me something. She just taught me to take my eyes off the cards and not be so literal to see the energy. Taurus is the energy of self-care. So what Taurus girl was looking at when she saw the cards, was she was looking and reading the copy that I wrote in the community post. She saw the energy of someone who was doing self-care. She nailed it. She nailed it. And so in doing so, what she in effect did was she taught me, her using her voice gave me a fresh perspective on energy. Thank you, Taurus girl. Because you just simply commented, and I tell y'all this all the time. I'm on this platform. I'm teaching y'all a lot of stuff. I'm teaching y'all what I know. But when I come on here to teach, you guys' comments teach me things that I didn't know. So I'm a student at the same time. I'm a student at the same time. So I always appreciate when you guys comment, and the comments are high vibrational, by the way. Let me say that. But I do appreciate when you guys comment, because you guys sharing your perspectives and your experiences, they teach me. Everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student. Okay. So I thank you, Taurus girl, because not only did you give me a fresh perspective on energy, you also taught me a new way to look at it. I said, you know what, man, Matt, don't be so literal. But again, that's that divine feminine energy of wisdom. Wisdom is a feminine energy. I talk about that all the time. So I get a lot of wisdom from my mother. Especially, I usually call her after I talk to my dad, and my dad said something that maybe I ain't necessarily agree with. I call my mother up and ask her for further clarification. And she'd be like, well, let me give it to you like this. And so it's usually, my parents balance each other out, at least for me. For me, they're my balance. So it's cool. It's cool. I appreciate my mother. I appreciate my dad. So anyway, now I can't just tell you that story, because Bella, you're still waiting for the punchline. Here's what happens, Bella. We get to the ice cream shop, and my dad, who hasn't seen me in a little while, I'm in there. I ain't care how I was looking, y'all. I was just working. I was in work mode. I ain't care how I looked. That was whatever. Face there. I ain't shaving nothing. Needed a haircut. And my dad, there's people sitting in there. He ain't whispering, y'all. He not whispering. He says, boy, what's going on with you there, boy? He said, you looking like, I said, what you talking about, Dad? He said, boy, you looking like Forrest Gump out here. When you going to clean your face up? So I'm looking around, because there's people sitting there. And it's a good thing I don't wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't care, because, it is what it is, So, but that was funny. So that's the cleanup thing, Bella. I know I took you all the way around the block to get you to the house next door. My dad publicly said I look like Forrest Gump, and that wasn't a good look. So I had to clean up my face. I had to clean up my act. And the funny thing is, I get it from both my parents. If he don't give it to me, then my mom would give it to me. Matter of fact, back in the day, I'm gonna tell y'all, boss lady, she would get tired. She would say, I ain't never seen anybody who can cut hair. He cuts other people's hair. He cuts his own hair, but you don't cut your hair enough. Like, you just let yourself go. And she would get so fed up, y'all. The real talk. She would get on the phone and call my mother. She would take a picture of me and text it to my mother and call her and said, did you raise your son to walk around looking like this? And then I got to hear from my mother. And then she gonna call me and be like, look, I would tell y'all this other story. I'm not going to tell y'all that. I'll keep that one inside the family. But anyway, my family's funny, y'all. Anyway, she says, now I want you to call me back when you're done with your cutting your hair and shaving, and you take a picture and send it to me so I know you did it. Like, they don't play that reason for it. They don't play that, y'all, for whatever reason. But anyway, that's my family. That's my family. It is what it is. So let me, yeah, he did roast me, Bella. He did. He roasted me all in public. Okay, Bernadette says she's a Life Path 11 too. I got it. Okay. All right. Yeah. She says, seeing this was your dad, is it easier to telepathically connect to your genetic family? That's a great question. I would have to say it depends on the connection that you have, because we don't always have the same connection to everybody in our families. Okay. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to name, I got 5 brothers. I'm not going to name which one it is. Okay. 4 brothers. I'm sorry. My mother has 5 boys. I have 4 brothers. One of my brothers, I'm gonna tell you the answer to that is unequivocally no, because one of my brothers has Saturn sitting on his 12th house, and I told him that in a conversation. I said, look, that 12th house is where that telepathy lives. I mean, if you want to assign it to a house in astrology, that telepathy is a 12th house function. And I said, with Saturn sitting on your 12th house, buddy, you must have pissed somebody off your last lifetime. You pissed off the Most High. You pissed off one of the ancestors. You pissed off. You did a disservice to somebody in another lifetime, whatever. The spirit don't want to hear from you right now. And I said, I see exactly why you chose this family where you got 2 individuals that are highly tapped in, one being myself, the other one being my mom, who can, quote unquote, as they used to say in church back in the day, get a prayer through for you. I said, I see now why. I see why you're here, because they're not talking to you until you do X, Y, and Z. And I can look at his chart and tell them what that X, Y, and Z is. I said, when you do X, Y, and Z based on what your Saturn sign, degree, and house is, then you'll unlock this 12th house, and then they'll want to be able to hear from you again. So then I'll be able to telepathically communicate with them. But to answer your question, Bernadette, the telepathy, maybe not, but with an empath or, you know, I think that, you know, again, it depends on the connection. But when you're an empath, you can feel everybody's energy. You can, I mean, I probably shouldn't say this on camera, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you want to know how somebody's feeling and you tapped in and you high vibrational, you can know how they feel. You, especially when you got, and y'all have heard me talk about these 0-degree placements, especially when you got 0-degree placements. But I ain't gonna spin this off into an astrology lesson. I don't want to do that tonight. Maybe I'll save that story for another day. As some of y'all have had these conversations with me who've become private clients of mine. And y'all know I'm gonna repeat this again for the new people. I'm not taking any new clients through the rest of the summer because I'm publishing right now. Heavy on that. So if you come to me anyway. I can refer you to some other people that I trust that I would go to if I needed to get a natal chart reading or natal chart assessment. But right now, I don't have the bandwidth to take on new clients. So I wanted to say that. Anyway, but if you're a current client, y'all know y'all can hit me up. Current clients, it's y'all know what it is. Y'all hit me up if you need something. Okay. Now, Bella says she called your mama. She sure did. Y'all. I can't do nothing. It's been like this since I was little. I can't do nothing. If the spirit ain't disrupting me, there's somebody. Anyway, I got some stories I could tell y'all, but I ain't gonna do it. Some stuff you got to keep in the family. So let me move on to the next story. This is so Tora Girl, shout out to you. Thank you again, y'all. This is the importance of using your voice. Don't be afraid to speak up. Tora Girl didn't have to leave a comment there. She did. But because she did, that actually taught me a new way to look at energy and not to be so literal. Y'all, I say this all the time. I'm not going to call out that particular sidereal astrologer on this video. Maybe I will in another video if the notion hits me or whatever. But there are certain, and this is why, y'all, I tend to live more in the tropical astrology community, because a lot of the people, and I'm not saying all of them, but, you know, if you're doing a comparison, overwhelmingly so, you have a lot of the astrologers that do Vedic astrology, and not all of them again, but a lot of them are so bougie and they're just so snooty when it comes to astrology. They treat tropical astrology like it's nothing and like it's inaccurate, and that itself is inaccurate. They both are accurate. They're just different perspectives of the same picture. Okay, it's like if it's like one is looking at what's a good analogy? I don't know. Like one is, I don't know. I mean, we know that technically speaking, one focuses on the moon. That's Vedic / sidereal. And the other focuses the sun. That's tropical. But again, a lot of the people I see that do Vedic astrology, they take a dump on sidereal. And I mean, they take a dump on tropical. And that's not cool, because the tropical people, they give big ups to the sidereal people. And they're like, hey, there's some things in sidereal astrology that tropical doesn't deal with. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna get off of that. Because it's turning my stomach, to be honest. But anyway, this one person said something that, they were talking bad about tropical and this, that, and the third. And we're not gonna do that. But that being said, I'm talking sidereal tonight. So let me get back on my point, because I got off topic there. Let's move on to that third story. Again, this is another dad story. So y'all, my dad, he gets me, was this just yesterday? I think it was just yesterday. My dad, he wanted me to come and help him with something. He needed to trim a tree, and he needed me to come up and help him out. Hey, look, let me get this tool I need, whatever, blah blah blah. Bring it to me. I got to do this real quick, and then when you're done, we can go, whatever. So we're doing that, and when we get done, he stops me. I'm getting ready to leave, and he says, "Hey, let me talk to you real quick. Let me holler at you real quick about something." I'm like, "Oh, here we go," because I know what that sound. Everybody know when their parents hit them a certain way, you already know what it's going to be. So I'm like, what did I do? Here we go. Because I'm the model son, if y'all couldn't tell. Anyway, ask any one of my parents, they'll tell you that. It's cool. Brothers and sister, they'll tell you the same thing. I try to be there for everybody. But anyway, I know I don't agree with everything I do doesn't agree with everybody. But so dad stops me. He says, we're talking about the same thing, y'all, the importance of using your voice. He says to me, son, what I got to tell you is it could upset you. He said it might hurt your feelings. I don't know. He said it could bring your mood down. He said it might take your mood up. I don't know. He said, but when God puts something on my heart to tell you, I got to tell you. So, I'm all right. I'm listening. Grain of salt, because, y'all know how I move. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's my parents, care if it's my family member, whatever. If what you about to tell me, it's got to agree with something. When you say God put it on your heart, it's got to agree with something that God put on my heart for me to take it from that perspective. Now, it doesn't perhaps take away from the validity or partial validity of what it is that you're saying, but I can't fully accept it if it ain't already resonating inside of me and then you're confirming it. That's how I've always moved. So he says to me, son, I wasn't looking for it. He said, I was just on YouTube and one of your videos popped up on my timeline. And I'm like, uh-oh, because I already know at this point I'm empathic and I got some of the other clairs too. So I already know what he's going to tell me. He's going to talk to me about my language because I told y'all my dad is very religious. My mother's religious too, but my mother's balanced. My mother, she attends church on a regular, okay? She volunteers with the church and the different church organizations, but my mother can also have a spirituality conversation with me. She's balanced. Maybe it's that Scorpio rising she has. Maybe it's the fact that she's a mother and, she's a Leo. Leos go hard for their family, whatever. But, she's a Sagittarius moon. So Sagittarius is a sign of wisdom. Now, my dad's a Sagittarius sun, but Sagittarius not only is a sign of wisdom, it's where religion lives in our chart too. So the 9th house or Sagittarius placements, they're going to tend to be religious or spiritual. It can be either or. It's the same thing. It's like that. How do I connect to, how do I communicate with God energy? That's all of that can be found in the Sagittarius placements or 9th house. So they both kind of got them differently, but my dad's is in the sun. My mother's in the moon. So my mom's it's going to have a little bit more emotional attachment to it than my dad. All right. So that's kind of how that works. But anyway, yeah. So I already know what he's going to tell me. And he didn't tell me what the title of the video is, but I guarantee you it's the one that I did some years ago when I was hot. There was one day I was hot. I went to the office and I recorded this video titled How Fear Causes Us to Up. Okay. So my dad proceeds to tell me, he says, son, I'm just telling you this now. You can't be talking about God out of one side of your mouth and then out of the other side of your mouth saying, F this and F words and all that. And so I was like, Dad. He says, no. This is my dad because he knows we butt heads sometimes. And I'm a grown man at this point. So I'm always going to be respectful. I'm always going to honor my parents and show them respect. But I'm going to push back if you're wrong. I got the way I move. I'm not you. Even though you raised me, I'm not you. I came here as an independent soul to do something completely different than what you came here to do. I don't agree with everything that you do, but I keep that to myself. I'm like, you know what? He gets to be him. Let me be me. So I was like, Dad, I hear you. However, he's like, no. However, you can't. He said, son, you got people that's going, he said, you got a lot of word and you know the scriptures, but you got people that's going to be critical because of how you're talking. I said, Dad, a lot of these same critics, I've seen them before. I've seen them. They're critics. I've seen the critics. I've seen them. Lots of critics. Lot of them. Okay. That was a bad Trump. I was just watching not Jamie Foxx. Comedian Godfrey do a nasty Trump. Anyway, so I need to practice and work on it. But anyway, I said, Dad, I've dealt with these critics. I said, what are they going to say to me? I said, Dad, nobody can tell me how to live my life. I said, if God don't convict me about how I'm talking, then I hear you. And I said, I'll never use certain language in front of you or in front of mom, but I got to say it the way I feel it. I got to be authentic. I said, there's some people that ain't going to receive it unless it's colored a certain way. Now, I'm not coloring it that way for anybody's benefit. I'm simply saying it the way I feel it in the moment. Sometimes it hit different. And so he goes on and I said, Dad, I don't care nothing about no critics. I said, I told you this before. If I didn't tell you, Dad, I'm not a Christian anymore. I don't go by that title. I said, I don't love God any less. I'm just not going by. I said, I'm not under anybody's yoke of bondage anymore. So I'm not going to submit myself to anybody's ideology of what my life is supposed to look like. I'm sorry. I'm going to give you the utmost respect, but I'm just not going to, I got to speak the way I talk. So, and then, the thing is, and I got to give credit to my brother. I got a Leo brother. I got to give credit to him. He's one of the first people years ago. He's like, yo, man, he said, why you with all this, screw you and up yours, buddy? He said, man, if you say screw you up, you saying the same thing. He said, you think God looking at it any different because you cleaned it up by saying screw when you got the same intent? And I'm like, dag, he got a point. He actually got a point. And so I started looking at that. And then on top of that, y'all know what I dealt with in 2011, right there, that book, Abdominal C Word. I went to a counselor because I was into the holistic medicine at that point. I'm like, I'm not submitting myself completely to the system for them to do to me what they've done to a lot of people who ain't here no more in the name of trying to save them. I'm a quarterback my own recovery plan. I'm a quarterback my recovery plan. And if you can't sign on to a doc, I'll go get me another doc who will. I'm a gifted troubleshooter, problem solver. So if anybody can solve my quote unquote health crisis, it's me. And that's kind of how I proceeded with that. But in the aftermath, I went and talked to a counselor and she spoke to me and she broke me down. Like she's looking at me. She said, you're the type to hold stuff in. She said, you're the type to hold stuff in. And she said, that's not healthy. She said, you got this episode behind you. She said, you don't want another one. If you don't want to see this again, then you need to be very vocal when things bother you. She said, say it the way you feel it. And then on top of that, I saw another statistic somewhere that said people who actually quote unquote curse or cuss, wherever part of the country you're from, they live longer. And then I went on into it, and the way the article was breaking down, it was breaking down to saying that these people, they live longer because they are getting it out and they're saying what's on their mind and they're not holding anything in. So that disease process is not triggering a lot of the allopathic doctors, a lot of the traditional modern medicine doctors. They don't make the association between our emotions and our physical health. Everything starts in spirit and then manifests in flesh. So if you holding stuff in that needs to come out, think about you holding waste in and not going out. You would pass away from sepsis. If you could not release or eliminate, you would pass away from sepsis. So guess what? A lot of us have emotions that we need to eliminate. And rather than eliminate them, we hold on to them because we're worried about what somebody's going to say or think about what it is that we got to say. So how does that? So in the aftermath, we agreed to disagree. And he said, he thought I was mad. He said, no, come here, boy, give me a hug. So I was like, Dad, I ain't mad. I hugged him, whatever, got in the car and left. And then y'all know what I did. I called my mom. So Mom, why he? And she said, well, we talking. And she kind of giving, she said, how your dad is, whatever. She said, son, I saw that same video. And she said, I just said, you know what? I don't necessarily like the way that he was talking because I don't talk like that. But I'm sure, I know my son, I'm sure he had a good reason to say it. And if he wasn't harming anybody, as far as I can see, it wasn't directed toward anybody, which it wasn't. Okay. So the way I express myself is the way I express myself. But you have to express yourself and you have to be authentic in your speech. Now, if I don't say that to him and I absorb that, then guess what? I'm walking around here now and then I'm getting on the camera and say, okay, well, I can't be free to express myself because my dad, it might be watching and he's worried. Oh, that's what else he said to me too. He said, well, son, you're a reflection of me. I said, Dad, I'm a reflection of me first. I said, this is why I come on this platform and I tell people, look, if you hear me say something sideways, drop a 4-letter word or whatever, I want y'all to know my parents didn't raise me to talk like that. But this is me operating in my authenticity. What do I say to y'all at the end of every one of these live streams? I tell you, authenticity is the only way you're going to reach your destiny. So I got to be authentic. But let me bring it back around. As I'm driving home, I'm thinking about my natal chart. And because I'm always going to try to shoe on. If somebody says something about me, I'm going to try it on. Because if they're right and it's something I need to correct, I'm going to correct it so that, pardon that microphone tap there. I'm going to correct it so you can't hit me with that again. Nah. You know what? I assessed what it was that the judgment that you made about me, and I found it to be correct. So I corrected myself. So you can't get me with that no more. You got to come with something else now. Nah, we fixed that. Let's keep it moving. What's next? What you got now? Oh, you ain't got nothing. All right, yeah, keep it moving. That's me. So I'm always going to try it on first. But this is what I did, and this is why I'm always on here, y'all, telling you to know yourself. How do you know yourself? You got to know your natal chart. Your natal chart is your instruction manual. It describes how you were created, who you are, how you were created, what your tendencies are in certain situations. I don't do some of the advanced stuff that a lot of the other astrologers do. I don't care to, frankly. If you want to know that stuff, I will always refer you to somebody. If you come to me, I'm going to refer you to somebody that does it. I don't look at the progressions. I don't want to know the exact thing that's going to happen in my life 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I don't care about that. I don't want to think about that. But I do want to know how I operate, because astrology is all about interaction, how we interact with each other. Those planets up there, those planets have to interact with each other when they come within a certain orb of each other based on what signs they're in or whatever. Those planets might be they might be in a harmonious aspect to each other. They might be in a harsh aspect to each other. But guess what? This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And the one thing that we know is that each one of those planets stays on its, what's that word? Y'all always say it, ecliptic, I think, or whatever, or it stays in its orbit. It stays on its orbit. It never comes off its orbit. You don't ever see a planet trying to control another planet. They move in their motion based on divine timing, because that thing is a big giant clock. And guess what? If it's a harmonious aspect, these planets are going to handshake. If it's a harsh aspect, these planets are going to flip each other the bird. But they're going to keep moving, because guess what? Eventually, they're going to come into a harmonious aspect. Pardon me. So that's what it is. These planets they never try to control each other. And the problem I have with a lot of religion, I'm going to talk about that. I just had this conversation with one of my homegirls earlier. The problem with religion is religion seeks to control. And I said in that conversation, I said, any man that subjects himself to the rule of another man in a religious aspect, and that man telling him how he should be living his life, he's not a man, he's a boy. You just let somebody son you. Real spiritual teachers don't teach you to look for God outside of yourself. They teach you to go within. Go within. The Messiah even taught that, even though they spun a religion off him, and he never, if you ask me, he didn't want anybody to do that. But that's a story for another day. They spun a whole religion off of his life, not his real teachings, And first of all, he didn't really go into what the real teachings were, wide scale. He spoke in parables. And I talked about the reason why. He didn't want everybody. He had to follow the script that Isaiah set years before. Hey, you know what? The Messiah, the Most High told Isaiah, cast this spell on the people. Tell them, have eyes and don't see, and have ears but don't hear. Why? Well, because if they hear and receive this message and repent, I got to forgive them. But I don't want them to repent. That's in scripture. It's written in Isaiah. It's also written in the book of Matthew. So the Most High, the Creator, he didn't want to hear and I'm sorry from everybody. He said, nah, some of these people need to get dealt with. So I want them to remain in the dark about this message. Meanwhile, the people I intend to get it, they're going to get it and they're going to prosper. They're going to thrive. They're going to grow. They're going to ascend. Their spiritual gifts are going to unlock. I don't want these people over here to unlock any high vibrational spiritual gifts because they've done too much wickedness and they got to pay for it. And that's the I'm off on a tangent now, y'all, but I got to finish this point and I'll move on. That's the fallacy of Christianity. Christianity will have you thinking you can do all manner of wickedness your entire life and then repent and then all is well. It don't work that way. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man sows, that will he also reap. That's why we're seeing a lot of the stuff that's happening around the planet right now. It's just old payback coming back around. But anyway, I'm off. Let me get on. Let me get back on. So that was the third story, y'all. Again, all of this is the importance of your. Oh, you know what? I got off a tangent. I got off. Let me come back real quick. I reviewed my natal chart. I did a self-review of my natal chart because I already know it. So I got it memorized. So I'm driving back and I'm like, let me think about what he's saying. And I look at my Mercury placement. We're going to be talking about that tonight. And I look at my third house. And my Mercury and my third house are in the fiery Sagittarius. What else do we know about Sagittarius? Sagittarius energy does not like to be constricted. Look in your chart. Wherever you got Sagittarius, that represents an area of your life where you do not want to be confined. You have to be free to expand. The same with your ninth house placement. Whatever sign you got in your ninth house, that's the energy in you that wants to be expansive, that does not want to be controlled. Sitting opposite Sagittarius is Gemini. That's a controlled learning environment. That's the sign of the student. Sagittarius is the sign of the teacher and the explorer. Gemini wants to learn. Sagittarius wants to teach what it learned when it was in Gemini. That's how that works. So I looked at it and because I self-examined. I said, was I wrong for pushing back on my dad? I'm always going to self-examine, y'all. That's what I do. I'm always going to self-examine. That's part of being a Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign of the problem solver. So if something appears problematic to me, the first thing I'm going to do is self-examine, especially if I'm involved in it. So I said, was I wrong for pushing back on him? Well, Matt, what does your natal chart say? Your natal chart says you are a Mercury in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is that big, fiery, expansive energy that does not want to be constricted. He is trying to constrict my speech by telling me I shouldn't speak a certain way. That's shameful. It reflects poorly on him. I was like, you know what? I'm not you. And I will give people the credit telling them that you didn't raise me to talk like this. I'm being me. Don't try to confine me. You cannot confine my speech. You cannot confine what I learned. You cannot confine my learning style. I'm a third house. The third house rules over communication and speech and learning. I'm a third house Sagittarius. And when it comes to partnership, more fire. I got Aries in the seventh house. That's fiery leadership energy. That's the energy of self. I'll do this myself. I want a partnership. I don't have to have a partnership. I'm going to thrive without one. If the partnership don't serve me, I can get whatever I would normally get done in a partnership with a partner. I can do it by myself. That's the energy of Aries in the seventh house. So I said, I got all of this fire. Well, then, hang on a second. I'm like, the Most High made me fiery for a reason. The Creator made me fiery for a reason. I was created as fire in those. I'm a firebrand. God did that. And I told him, I said, God made me. He made me the way I am. I'm not going to hell. How do I know I'm not going to hell? Jeremiah chapter 1. I knew you before I formed you in the womb. And I sanctified you and set you aside, made you a prophet to the nations. Why would you give me a job to do? Send me here. You say you knew me before you formed me in the womb. And yet when I come out the womb, I'm damned to hell unless I give my life to Christ. That don't make sense. That's the fallacy of Christianity. Real men don't subjugate themselves to another man and say, well, what should I be doing, Pastor? What you say? No, you got your own instruction manual. Your pastor should be directing you inward. Learn how to meditate. The answers will come to you. Just listen to the sound of your breath going in and out. God will show up in your meditation session. He always does. All you got to do is seek him within, not seek him without. That same God that you seeking without, guess what? The quote unquote devil knows you coming out there too. So he trying to throw you a curveball. But that's a story for another day. So you got to know, as part of your using your voice, I say there's no time like the present to use your voice. Guess what? To better understand your voice and what it is that you came here to say. And I know there are astrologers that say the voice is in the second house. I'll push back on that and say the voice quality is in the second house. The second house is the voice quality. But what you do with your voice lives in the third house. The third house rules over communication. It rules over communication, speech, learning, writing, publishing, all of that. All right. So I'm through the story time. I got a few points to make on this on this why now is an auspicious and necessary time for you to use your voice. Let's see. I'm talking about that. I'm going to talk about which placements are supercharged during this transit. There's going to be no timestamps, so y'all got to pay attention. I'm going to talk about which placements are supercharged. Everybody should be using their voice in this season. Let me say that. Everybody should. Okay? Jupiter is there. That Jupiterian energy can be felt all over the planet. Okay? However, there are certain placements that are supercharged during this transit. So you were here in this time. You were sent here in this time with these placements because you are required. Your voice is required. There was something that was placed inside of you before birth that is to sprout up and spring up at this time. You have to do it. Okay? So let me read some more comments and I'm going to run through this and then we'll be done. Thank y'all for being here. Let's see. All right. Lady Dagstad said parents are brutally honest. Yes, they are. Hot Shot said Matt got roasted hard. Yes, I did. Both my parents do that. They don't care. Yeah, Bella, she did call my mom. She sure did. Beauty Core Physics said this is the cutest story. Love your dad. Thank you. I love him too. He's good people. Dad was coming from the Christian aspect. We're not on that. This is true, Hot Shot. He was. I know he's coming from a good place. He wasn't coming from a bad place, but he's coming through his own perspective. So I had to be able to see where he is and not judge him for where he is, but understand that the instruction that he was giving to me is based on the way he carries himself. And I respect that. In fact, with him being an Aries moon, it's probably best that my dad is not, using certain language because it would be way more fiery than Matt doing it, way more. I'm not coming at nobody. I'm just telling you to stay off me, period. I don't use this language to come for nobody. I just be like, I'm clapping back when you get too close. You know what I mean? But anyway, she said, spiritual warriors like to let things out with respect, of course. Yes, they do. She said, you call mom, you need another judge to preside. Yo, the thing is, I know my mom is always going to give me that balanced and fair. She's always going to give it to me from the middle. That's the thing. That's the reason why I talk to my mother. She's always going to give it to me from the middle, and she's always going to give it to me straight. She go, if I'm wrong, she's going to tell me, son, you were wrong. You could do better. She's going to always give it to me straight. She never, ever comes from a judgmental perspective, at least not with me. Now, one of my brothers might just say that that's the opposite to be true, but that's the same one that got his 12th house, Saturn sitting on his 12th house. So I kind of take that with a grain of salt sometimes. Anyway, long story for another day. But when it comes to me, she gives it to me straight. She comes from the middle. When she's talking to me about my siblings, she's giving me her perspective, but it's coming from the middle. A lot of times I have to listen to both sides. Remember, y'all, I'm the only earth sign in my family. I'm the only earth sign in my family. The tropical. I know we talking about sidereal tonight, but tropical. I'm the only earth sign in my family. So I'm the grounding wire for the family. I end up playing judge a lot of times. I end up hearing arguments and then giving a ruling on it. That happens a lot. And a lot of y'all out here that are Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, you can attest to the fact that there's a reason why it is repeated throughout astrological circles that Capricorn children end up being the parents in the family a lot of times. It's very true. Old soul energy. So anyway, and yes, thank you, Hotshot. Y'all please hit that like button for me. She said elliptical is the word you were looking for. I think so. Let me double check that. Bernadette. Let's see. No, it wasn't elliptical. It was ecliptic. Let me bring this up on the screen so y'all can see it. This is the word. I get this word confused because it's so close to other words a lot of times, but let me bring this up on the screen so you guys can see it. That was a great question, Bernadette. Great question. There it is. Ecliptic. A great circle on the celestial sphere representing the sun's apparent path during the year, so-called because lunar and solar eclipses can occur only when the moon crosses it. Okay, so it's another word for a celestial path, and every planet stays in its own path for the most part. So, but thank you. That was a great question. Wow, he wants some people in the dark. Go, Matt. Let us know. I'm not sure what that means. Let's see. Wow, Sag rising here, 62 and still single. Are you are always enlightening. Thank you, beauty of core. Thank you. And I got a lot of respect for y'all Sag risings because Y'all got a lot of fans, but y'all got a lot of haters too, because the Sag rising, that's that gift energy. Everything they touch turns to gold. And some people that rubs some people the wrong way. It's like, look, I didn't gift myself with this. Okay, take it up with management. Religion to me, for me personally, is steeped in symbolism. I'm not offended and cannot be controlled. Exactly. Thank you for adding that. Thank you so much. And she said, I understand your dad. Both of my parents are ministers. I get it bad. Yep. So you already know, Hotshot. You already know. And Bernadette, you know too. Thank you. Okay. So now let me move on, y'all, because this is the meat. This is what y'all came here for. I gave y'all the appetizers. We had some nice drinks or whatever. Now we're going to eat the meat. Let's bring the main course out. So why now is an auspicious and necessary time for you to use your voice. It's the Jupiter in sidereal transit. Now, again, I told y'all I was going to bring up a sidereal chart. Let me get a browser window open, and then I'll bring that up for you guys. Let's see. And this is going to be real quick. I'm not showing you my chart or anybody else's. I'll just show you how to do this for yourself. All right. This is how you can do this for yourself. So let me share this to the screen. Thank y'all for being here tonight too. Thank y'all so much. All right, so this is one of my favorite tools, AstroSeek. Cafe Astrology is another one. Very, very clean, basic, gives you a very detailed report with that as well. So, but this one, this is AstroSeek, and it gives you a little bit more information. It also gives you the ability to do sidereal. So, let me make sure y'all can see this on the screen. Right over here, let me zoom it in a little bit. Right over there, you can click this drop down and change the system to sidereal zodiac, okay? And then make sure you hit okay, otherwise it won't change. So now we're sidereal, okay? And as you can see, it changes things up. The sun is in 4 degrees of Cancer, but y'all know that we're here on the cusp. Oop, I don't need that up there. We're on the cusp of Leo season on the tropical side. But let me do this. Let me just make up a that's today's current transits. I don't want that. I need the natal chart calculator. All right, so let's do it like this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just type in today's date. Let's just say that there's a baby born right now at this time. And I'm going to do Eastern. So I'm going to do this for Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, let's see. July. And this year is 2025. Okay, so let's say there's a kid born July 2025. It is now not 10 a.m., 10 p.m. 10, 11 p.m. And let's say Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, calculate chart. Now, this is tropical. This is tropical. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. Y'all pay attention. I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to switch the system to sidereal. Here underneath related charts, quick links. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm going to change the system to sidereal. Okay, so now I'm looking at the sidereal aspect. Over here is the tropical chart. This kid is a tropical Cancer in 28 degrees. So we got another day or so, and then the tropical is going to move to Leo. But we're just coming into Cancer on the sidereal side with 4 degrees Cancer. Okay, remember there are 30 degrees in each sign. So now what I want you to see here is that this Jupiter is in Gemini. It's in Gemini in the 5th house. This child, this fictitious child, was also born with Taurus in their 3rd house. So, and also with Uranus in the 3rd house. But what I want to stick to is the personal placements, y'all, which are your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, okay, and then your North Node. Those are what I like to call the personal placements. Now, your Jupiter is a personal one too, but it talks about your gifts. It talks about your gifts. Saturn is your karma. Uranus is how your energy of being unconventional, okay, and then Neptune, your spiritual energy, your hopes, your dreams, your wishes, that sort of thing too. And then Pluto is how you transform what you came here to transform. This is a kid with Capricorn, sidereal Capricorn, sidereal Pluto and Capricorn in the 12th house. I ain't gonna talk about that because this ain't no full birth chart review. What I want to pay attention to is that Mercury, that third house here is in Aries. Okay, the third house is in Aries. But anyway, I just wanted you guys to see the difference between that sidereal chart so you can look yours up and see what your placements are. I'm not going to go through this chart right here. I just wanted you guys to see that. Now, your sidereal chart is going to be different in a lot of cases than your tropical chart. Sidereally speaking, I'm a Sagittarius sun. Tropically speaking, I'm a Capricorn sun. Y'all know that. I identify more with the Capricorn side, but when I sit there and think about my spiritual energy, it would be more on the Sagittarius side. That's kind of how that works. So let me stop sharing. And I want to talk about now why right now is an auspicious time and necessary for you to use your voice, for you to use your voice. Jupiter right now, family, is on the sidereal side of things. Again, Vedic, sidereal, you might hear it used interchangeably, but they're the same thing. So with Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, you and everybody's got a sidereal chart. I like to say the sidereal chart is more a reflection of your spiritual / feminine energy, and your tropical chart is more a reflection of your masculine and practical energy. That's what everybody, there's two sides to everybody. Those two charts are fully effective. Some people just resonate more with their sidereal chart. Other people resonate more with their tropical chart. But right now, y'all know I did the tropical Jupiter in Cancer, and we talked about the importance of that. Now I'm going to talk about the sidereal Jupiter in Gemini transit and why that's important. Gemini rules over the third house. I told you we're going to talk about two things tonight. Gemini rules over the third house. The third house is all about communication. What is Jupiter? Jupiter is known as the benefic. It is the energy of gifts. It is the energy of abundance. It's the energy of expansion. Jupiter gives it. Jupiter energy is the scripture that says gifts come without repentance. This Jupiter, that's you just going to be gifted in whatever your Jupiter sign is based on which system you're looking at. For example, I don't know what my, I'm not going to share. Well, let me look at it. I'm not sharing to the screen. Let me look at my chart really quick. Because I don't necessarily memorize every aspect of my sidereal chart because I live more on the tropical side. But let me pull my chart up really quick. Let's see. What do I have going on over here? Matt, let me see. Okay, yeah. So interesting. My Jupiter on the sidereal side. My Jupiter on the sidereal / Vedic side is in the sign of Sagittarius. Okay. It's Capricorn on the tropical side, but it is Sagittarius on the sidereal side. With Jupiter right now in the sign of Gemini, it is going to expand. What is Jupiter? It is the expander. It is the gifter. It is the expander. Whatever sign you got Jupiter, whatever sign you got your Jupiter sitting in, you're going to be good at that. You're going to be good at it. You're going to be good at it for whatever reason. Okay. So, Jupiter also, Gemini also rules over the third house of communication. Okay. Third house of communication, publishing. I ain't gonna deal with the short distance travel part or the siblings relationship. We're dealing specifically with using your voice. Again, some astrologers say that the second house is the voice and the third house is speech and communication. I look at the second house as the voice quality. Why? Because it's ruled by Venus. The second house is ruled by Venus. So when you're looking at Venusian things, you're looking at quality. But when you beauty, aesthetics, that's Venus. When you get to that third house, that's about that raw communication. That's Mercury. We're coming into a Mercury retrograde right now. Y'all know what that's about. Not gonna get into that. Right now, there's no time like the present. I gave you guys those examples early on. I gave you how Torah Girl, using her voice, activated something in me that became a new way for me to look at energy when I'm looking at some tarot cards. I'm like, that is phenomenal. I'm sitting here stuck on the fact that the Hermit card and the Eight of Pentacles is Virgo energy, but the overall energy, when you look at that whole spread, you got the Four of Swords, which is a rest and recovery card, the Eight of Pentacles, which is a working on something card, and then the Hermit card, which is a card of solitude and inner reflection. That's everything that Taurus does. Taurus likes to be in his own little safe little bubble. So I'm like, she was right. She was right. And so, but if she does not speak to me, that doesn't activate that new way of me seeing that. Y'all see how that works? Y'all see how that works? Okay. So, me having this thoughts that it sure would be good to get some ice cream right now. And then my dad hitting me up 30 seconds later saying, hey, Forrest. He didn't call me that on the phone. But hey, Forrest, let's go get some ice cream. Right? So that was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. And then he bought the ice cream. Like there was a lady in there with her, I guess she was in there with her granddaughter. And so she bought some ice cream for her mom and herself and her granddaughter. Or she went up to order it. Before she could pay for it, my dad stepped up there and said, I got that. I got it. That's on me. So, all of this is synergy, but you never know what a ripple effect that had. Now, this is a Caucasian lady in a, country ice cream stand, whatever. And y'all know how some people are. Some people just don't have a perspective, a firsthand perspective on how people outside of their ethnic groups move and how they really are, because they're so busy looking at the 5 o'clock news or looking at some ratchet television program. And then to encounter somebody in the real world who's a working man and says, hey, you know what? Let me buy that ice cream for you and your granddaughter and your mom over there. Like, you never know what that did for her. I had a roommate when I was in the Army that said God told y'all this story before. We get out of the car at the gas station, and there's this bad sister to get out of her car. She's in a Mercedes. She gets out, heels, legs, hair, makeup, you name it. She had it all. She was fine. And he's sitting there like man up. Black women are becoming more and more beautiful. I said, becoming? What rock you been under? He said, man, you got to understand. I grew up in backwoods, Oregon. And he said, the only interaction I had with black people was sneaking while my parents were out and watching Good Times in the Jeffersons. You like, damn. Sorry, Dad. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna be who I am. I did that on purpose. I don't know if you're gonna watch this or not, but anyway, yeah. So you never know what you're doing. It was just a ripple effect. I'm thinking I want some ice cream. He calls me and says, do you want to go get some ice cream? We go to this ice cream shop. He tells me I need a shave and a haircut. I do that. You never know. I could go out and make somebody's day by looking clean versus scaring them by looking like Grizzly Adams, or telling my age there with Grizzly Adams, or Forrest Gump. Anyway, pardon me, y'all. So the importance of you using your voice right now with this Jupiter being in, let me go back to my notes. This Jupiter being in Gemini on the sidereal side, and everybody has a sidereal chart as well as they have a tropical chart. I won't beat that dead horse anymore. You have to use your voice, because now is the season you were sent here. Now, especially if you have some of these placements I'm about to talk about, now's the time to use your voice, because Jupiter sitting in the sign that rules over the house, that rules over the communication and speech, is a very beneficial placement. And it's not going to be here forever. Now, speaking is the only way you are going to activate. Speech comes from what? The throat chakra. The throat chakra is the 5th chakra. Number 5 is the number of activation. You got 5 digits on your hands. 5 digits. You got 5 digits. You know what that does? That activates your picking up something and grabbing it. 5 is a number of activation. It's a number of change. I just changed the state of my hydration by picking up this glass with this water and taking a sip. You have 5 toes on each foot, normally speaking. You got 5 toes on each foot, okay? What does that do? That 5 activates the stabilization of your steps. If you did not have toes, your steps would be a lot less stable than you having toes. 5 activates. The 5th chakra is the throat chakra. Some of y'all got spiritual gifts that are never going to, that will not, I won't say never, that will not come into fruition until you open your mouth and activate them. Speak those things that occur to you. Why? Because you're going to change your environment. You could change somebody else's life, just like Torah Girl did mine. Just like the 3rd house also rules over conscious thoughts. Mercury rules over the conscious. Neptune and Pisces rules over the subconscious. That's why I tell you Pisces placements are psychic. That's why Neptune plays tricks on you. It plays tricks on your mind, your subconscious. But Mercury that's your conscious thought. It's the house of learning. So guess what? You're thinking while you're learning, right? Mercury rules over your thought. So guess what? If you're with Jupiter in the sign of Gemini right now, it is activating and expanding and multiplying. Jupiter is a multiplier. It's an expander. It's going to expand whatever placements you have in Gemini or in the third house. So now's the time to do it. You were given those placements and placed here at this time to use those gifts. Let's move on to the next one. Now's a good time for anyone to use their voice. Why? Because Gemini rules the third house of communication and thought. I just talked about that. Okay. I talked about the sidereal Jupiter and Gemini transit. Okay. Now, third house, guess what? More likely than not, and this is not always the case, but look at your sidereal chart. I have several planets in the third house. On the tropical side, my sun is in the third house and my Mercury's in the third house. Okay. I got Jupiter in the third house. And my north node is in the third house. So these are third house placements that I have on my tropical chart. When I look at my sidereal chart, it's in the third house. Those are the signs might differ, but it's still in the third house. So guess what? Gemini rules over the third house. So if you've got certain planets in the third house, whatever planets you got in the third house, that planet is being activated and supercharged by this Jupiter in Gemini sidereal transit. Now's the time to speak. Let me keep moving. These placements are supercharged during this transit, so it is especially important for you to speak your mind because your voice is part of your purpose. And this transit, for you especially, is a powerful activation portal for your voice. Let's talk about some planets in the third house. Well, let's not talk about them because I want to keep this moving. Look at your chart, family. I didn't want this to be a super long video. Look at your chart. See what planets you have in the third house. If you got planets in the third house, that they're being supercharged by this sidereal transit. On the sidereal side, I'm a Sagittarius in the third house sun. Guess what? Sagittarius is the sign also, among other things, it's the sign of wisdom. So guess what? Any wisdom is going to be increased during this transit. And guess what? I got to speak on it. That's what I'm doing right now. That's exactly why I'm sharing these things with you guys right now. Look at your chart. Y'all come on here. I beat this all the time. Know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you're going to fall subject to somebody else outside of you telling you who you are. God help you if they tell you a lie about who you are. But they can't lie to you about who you are if you know who you are. Know your chart. If you got planets in the third house, they're being expanded right now. I just gave y'all 4 of my own personal placements. My north node is expanded right now. I got a north node in the third house. Guess what I just did? I came over here at the beginning of this and did what? I shared with y'all a groundbreaking book that is coming out. It's going to be released in September, unless you purchase a pre-release copy and you get yours in August. Why do you think I'm grinding the way I'm grinding right now? Why do you think I put off doing natal charts right now? Doing natal chart assessment, doing natal chart coaching right now? Even though I'm technically using my voice in there, I got to ride this wave of energy and pump out these books. I got books that I finished 2 years ago that I never published. Yes, I got books I finished 2 years ago that I never published. But I'm riding this energy now and pushing them out. Guess what? Somebody needs to hear them. This is why I was placed on the earth at this time with these placements. And this is why this is the season. I told y'all everything in the cosmos, in reality, is about transits, portals, and seasons. There's a reason you can't get watermelon out the ground in the wintertime if you're in a cold. And please, the smart Alex, please don't tell me about the watermelon in the ground greenhouses. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you growing them outside. You can't get watermelon in the winter. It doesn't grow in the winter. It's not the season. You can't get peaches off the tree. You can't get strawberries off the vine or whatever, the bush, whatever, in the winter. Those are summertime fruits. You eat summer things in the summer. You eat winter things in the winter. This is the season. You were placed there. If you want something to appear in your life and you got one of these placements, now's the time to do it. Don't play around with this. Do not play around with it. If you got planets in the third house, open your mouth and speak. your ability to bring those things into manifestation. Your throat chakra, that fifth chakra, is that's how you bring it into manifestation. Unless I'm gonna get to this one. But if you got planets in the third house, you need to be speaking. You need to be using your voice. If it's your sun, it's got something to do with your work. If it's your moon, it's got something to do with your emotions, something that you care about. Okay. If it's Mercury, it's pure communication energy, or learning, or publishing. All right. If it's Venus and you got Venus in the third house, you need to be speaking to your partner or your partnerships, marriages, whatever. If your Venus is in the third house, you want something to appear in your partnership. You want a certain partnership to appear, whatever that is for you. Venus rules over partnerships. Now you got to speak and call that thing into existence. You have to. Now's the time. If it's Mars, that's about taking action on something. Or it might be conflict energy. Maybe you got somebody, something that has been annoying you for a while, and you need to shut it down. Now's the time to speak on it. That's your Mars. If you got a Jupiter in the third house, you're gifted. It's super amplified. It's going to come easy for you. Now's the time. If your Saturn's in the third house, you probably need to, is that third house is, that's restricted until you do something. Now you got to look at what that Saturn sign is to know how to operate out of that. So if your Saturn's in Gemini, I'm skipping ahead on that, but now's the time to do that. If your North Node's in the third house, you have a destiny that is tied to speaking, writing, publishing, communicating. It could be technology. If your North Node's in the third house, get to work. Now ain't the time to play with it. Look at your sidereal chart. All right. Those are the planets in the third house. If you got planets in Gemini, same thing with your sun, your moon, your Mercury, your Venus, your Mars, your Jupiter, your North Node, your Saturn. If your Saturn's in Gemini, and if you're part of that Saturn in Gemini, Gemini generation. That was a little bit of a tongue twister. If you're part of that Saturn and Gemini generation, now is the time for you to speak and unlock whatever house you got your Saturn locked up. Saturn is whatever house you got Saturn in. If you're a Saturn in Gemini, the reason why that you got that restriction with that sign is because that sign is how you gonna get out of that restriction. The energy of that sign. You got a sidereal Saturn in Gemini. Now's the time to start using that voice because Jupiter is helping you out. Use it to unlock whatever house you got locked up in Saturn. If your North Node's in Gemini, figure out what it is that you came here to do and get to work. Now is a very auspicious time to do it. It's no time like the present. I hope y'all hear the energy. I hope y'all hear the energy and the urgency in my voice. How long does Jupiter stay in the sign? Let me look that up real quick. Let me see how long Jupiter stays in the sign. It's not as long as Saturn. Saturn is like 2.5 years. 12 to 13 months. You got 12 to 13 months. And I'm not sure when Jupiter, let me look back at that sidereal transit chart there. Let's see. Transit chart. Let's see what we got here. Transit. I'm looking at what? I need to change this to sidereal. Where is it? I'm looking at tropical. Oh, I'm still looking at that birth chart. Never mind. Hang on a second. I'm looking at the wrong thing. My bad. There we go. Sidereal transit chart. There we go. Okay. Jupiter is sitting at 15 degrees of Gemini. Jupiter on sidereal side is sitting at 15 degrees of Gemini. So guess what? It's about, remember, there's 30 degrees in each sign, it says Jupiter stays in a sign for 12 months, right? Jupiter stays in a sign for 12 months. Yeah, 12 to 13 months. So it's halfway through. Y'all got about another 6 months to get up off y'all rear. As we said in the Army, get off your 5th point of contact. Y'all got about another 6 months. Now's the time. Now is the time. Okay. So now let me see where I am. That's planets in Gemini. I talked about that. Now, the next thing, planets in Sagittarius. Why planets in Sagittarius, Matt? Because Sagittarius shares that same axis with Gemini. You're not going to hear a lot of astrologers say that. But Saturn and there are some astrologers that teach there's really only 6 signs. And I understand why they do that. Y'all, astrology is so vast. Just when you think you know it all, you learn something new. It's as vast as the universe. It's very universal. I don't think you can go your whole lifetime and learn everything there is to learn about astrology, because it's a study of the motions of the heavenly bodies and their energies and how they interact with each other and how they affect us. It really is universal math, but it's so vast you can't know it all in one lifetime. This is why certain people that want to know certain things, I send them over or refer them to other astrologers. I'm like, that's not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is looking at your chart and helping you solve a problem that you have in your life by knowing this is who you are. This is how your energy works. And sometimes I'll compare 2 other charts if it's a person that you're having a challenge with. I'm like, okay, here's where the rub is with you all. Here's some suggestions for how you might be able to work through this, right? Other stuff, I give that to other people. I don't try to know it all. You end up gravitating towards, anyway, I'm off on a tangent. But planets in Sagittarius, there's some people that teach there's 6 signs, right? Because a coin has a head side and a tail side. If you're a Sagittarius, that's your head side. But guess what? The tail side of that coin is Gemini. If you're a Gemini, your heads up is Gemini, tails down is Sagittarius. Every Gemini has a Sagittarius side that you don't see. I'll give you another case in point. People say, man, Capricorns are hustlers. Capricorns about their money. Cancer deals with home, family, nurturing that. Every single Cancer I know is about their money. I ain't never seen a Cancer. I've never met a Cancer that didn't hustle. It's because they got that Capricorn in them that people don't pay attention to because they're too busy looking at the Cancerian side. Same thing with Capricorn. People call Capricorns cold. Capricorns aren't cold. They just are detached because they got to get that money. But as far as the people they care about, you don't see that nurturing side of that Capricorn. They're out there getting that money because they care about somebody and they want to provide for them. So Sagittarius is on that same axis with Gemini. If you got Sagittarius, if you got planets in Sagittarius, look at that planet and figure out what it is, what the energy of that planet is. I just ran down them for you. Figure out what the energy of that planet is and roll with it. But we're talking about on the sidereal side, okay? Some of your signs change. I told y'all I'm a Mercury and Sag on the tropical side. I'm a Mercury and Scorpio on the sidereal side, okay? But guess what? They both are still in the 3rd house. What does that mean with regards to Matt? Sidereally speaking, Scorpio is the energy of transformation. So I got to use my voice right now to help transform something. I got to transform something. Scorpio is the number 1 sign for transformation. It is the sign of transformation. It's the sign of alchemy, taking one thing and turning it into another, taking dark and turning it into light. So when I'm looking at my sidereal chart, I got to pay attention to that Mercury and Scorpio because it's in the 3rd house. What is that? What's the instruction to Matt? Hey, Matt, now is the season. You're using your voice to transform something, to help transform somebody else's life, to help show somebody how they could be better or whatever to help transform maybe something they're going through. Now's the time for you to do it. It's being gifted by this Jupiter in Gemini transit because Gemini rules over the 3rd house. So my Mercury on the sidereal side doesn't have to be in Gemini. It doesn't have to be in Sagittarius. As long as it's in the 3rd house, I need to then look at the energy, which is Scorpio. I'm not running through houses and signs tonight. I'm using myself for an example. Y'all take it and apply it where it goes. The next up, 3rd house in Gemini. These placements I'm talking about right now are the ones that are supercharged. I told you, generally speaking, everybody should be using their voice right now to activate something in their life. I gave you the scriptures in the beginning to explain why. All right. Let us make man in our own image, our own likeness. Let there be light. That was a voice command. And there was light. Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters to divide the waters above from the waters below. That was a voice command. Let us make man in our own image and our own likeness. The image is the look, the likeness is the functionality. If he did it, he gave you the ability to do it too. So everybody can do it during this sidereal Gemini or Jupiter and Gemini transit, but there's certain placements that are supercharged. You need to do it. You will put here to do this thing that is inside of you during this season. You got any planets in the third house? I'm talking to you. If you got planets in Gemini, I'm talking to you. Stay sidereal with me. Stay sidereal. Jupiter's in Cancer on the other side. I went over that on the tropical side. Jupiter's in Cancer. I went over that already. I'm talking sidereal tonight. Okay? If you got planets in Gemini, I'm talking to you. If you got planets in the third house, I'm talking to you. If you got planets in Sagittarius, I'm talking to you. Now, if your third house is in Gemini or Sagittarius, I'm talking to you as well. Go to your house system. Go to your house system. If your third house is in the sign of Gemini or Sagittarius, I'm talking to you. Now's the time for you to use your voice. Look at your chart. All right? And I have a little asterisk here that says honorable mention goes to a third house in Scorpio. I just told you why. Because my Mercury is in Scorpio on the sidereal side, but it's in the third house. So if you, generally speaking, if your third house is in Scorpio, this is an auspicious time for you too. Why? Because that energy, remember, this transit is activating the third house. If you got Scorpio sitting in your third house, now is the time where you can actually use your voice to transform your reality. You may even be able to speak a word into somebody else's life if you have that scorpionic placement. Scorpio is a sign of power too. So you may have the ability to speak a word into somebody else's life and transform them. Positively, of course. You don't want to try to transform nobody negative, because you're going to have that karma to pay. You got karma. You're going to get karma either way. Either you getting you getting a relaxing karma, or you getting a pretty tedious karma, depending on the seeds that you planted. Karma don't care. Listen, when that scripture says God hath no respect of persons, it is talking about karma. It is talking about karma. Karma is God's, or the universe's, or the creator's, or the great I am. That's his or her, depending on which aspect you're looking at. Universal comptroller. What's a comptroller? A comptroller deals with payments. So all karma does is pay. It don't care who you are. It looks at your name and says, what are they owed? Okay, I'm going to pay it to them. This is why I say use it to transform somebody or something to the good, not to the bad. Them names that I named earlier, foul, chi, understand why I split that up. Foul, chi, Bill, Gates. They were trying to transform to the bad. Bill G, Slick Willie, think he's Slick Willie G? Glasses. Well, Microsoft Windows is one of the finest operating software systems we've seen in a lifetime. That guy, nerd, old A. He is old A. My dad ain't controlling me. I just don't. I'm doing this. I'm doing this to piss myself off. So the next time I come in here, I can be like, mother. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking. But that dude, he's a Scorpio. Look at all the transformation he's been doing in the world. Has he been transforming darkness into light, or has he been transforming light into darkness? You be the judge based on what you've seen. I'm going to leave that alone. Okay? So that's why I gave honorable mention to Scorpio in the third house. Now, next, your North Node is in the third house. I talked about that. Your North Node is your destiny placement. You are destined to do something that has to deal with communication, be it verbal or written. Some of y'all need to be writing and publishing books right now. Some of y'all need to be starting YouTube platforms. Some of y'all got people that's going to follow y'all. Some of y'all got a message to give to somebody that Matt can't deliver. We all members in the same body, right? As the scripture says, we're all members in the same body, but not all members have the same office. That's the problem I have with church. Church and organized religion. It purports that everybody came here basically to do some subset of the same thing. Serve God. How do I serve God? Well, you get affiliated with a ministry. You get up under somebody's ministry. You get up under somebody's covering. Where they do that at in the birth chart? That might be in some people's birth chart, but it ain't in everybody's birth chart. Your birth chart is your instruction manual. It's unique to you. That third house, that north node is that destiny placement. What did you come here to do? If it's in the third house, look at your sign. I'm a Capricorn third house on the tropical side. On the sidereal side, I'm a Sagittarius third house. What am I doing? I'm on here teaching. Sagittarius is the sign of the teacher, among other things. What am I doing? I'm doing exactly that. I'm teaching using my voice. I'm teaching using a platform for communication. I teach by writing and publishing both fiction and nonfiction books. Sometimes a fictitious story will teach a principle. So I'm in my north node, but now is the season where it's supercharged. This is why, again, I've put aside doing natal chart reviews for new customers, new clients, because I need to focus on that third house energy while Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini. Okay? So that's your north node in the third house. If you got a north node in Gemini or Sagittarius, it's the same thing. I just spoke on it. If you got a north node in Gemini, look at the house. If you got a north node in Sagittarius, look at the house. And of course, if your north node's in the third house. Last but not least, and I'm going to read some comments and we're going to wrap up. Last but not least, there are some life path numbers that need to be taking advantage of this Jupiter in Gemini Vedic / sidereal transit. There's no time like the present to use your voice. These life path numbers, the following life path numbers. Y'all have heard me talk about life path, and I'll read a little bit. I brought up a page. I'll read a little bit. If you're a life path number 3, you need to be using your voice right now. You need to be using your voice. It is amplified in this time. If you're a life path 3. If you're a life path number 5, supercharged. Why? Because 5 is the number of the throat chakra. Everybody talks about the adventure-seeking life path 5 and how there's constant change with the life path 5 and how that can be restless energy and it wants to move from one thing to the next. But nobody talks about the fact that life path number 5 has a very powerful ability to be an activator, an initiator, a spark, a creator, a generator. 5 is the number that applies to not just the 5th house, which is creativity, but it is the number numerologically speaking of activation. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm read through these and I'm gonna read a brief nugget on each of these and then we'll get off of here. If you're life path 7, now's the time you need to use your voice. Why? The life path number 7 is very spiritual. Things that are in spirit can only enter into the physical realm either via sound or sight, meaning you got to write. Either via sound, your voice, spoken word activation, or sight, meaning you got to write. You remember what I said? Write it, see it, say it, hear it. That's the progression. This is why it's important to write down your goals. This is why it's important to write down your manifestations. If you're sharing space with people, everybody don't need to know what you're doing. Pray in secret and the Father will reward you openly. Write your manifestations down, put them in a book where only you know where they are. Or if you're in your house, you want to write it, put it on your mirror, put it on your refrigerator, whatever. As long as you ain't got nobody in your space that's trying to work against what it is that you're trying to manifest. When you write it, you see it. When you see it, you say it without moving your lips. And when you say it, you hear it. And yet no sound was made with your mouth. That's how that works. So if you're life path 7, that spiritual life path number, you need to be using your voice right now because it is going to allow you to bring forth those things that you see in spirit into the natural. Life path number 8, known as the master manifester. I just gave y'all the example of me thinking about wanting some ice cream, and then less than a minute later, my dad calls me, says, let's go get some ice cream. Life path 8, the master manifester. You want to manifest, speak it. Or in your case, just think it. Just think it. Life path number 8. I'm talking to y'all. Life path number 9. Guess what? That's also Sagittarius energy. That's the energy of the wise sage. How can your wisdom be shared unless you communicate it either via written communication or verbal communication? Life path number 9. And then all of the master numbers, all of the master life path numbers, now's the time to use that voice. Life path number 11, super spiritual, okay? Life path number 22, the master builder. And then life path number 33, it combines the energies of life path 11 and life path 22. You got it all. Now, life path number 33, I've read, is very rare. I've never met a life path 33. I've met one life path 22, and I met more than a few life path number 11s. Okay? But that life path number 3 is known to be a rare one. But when you get a life path number 33, it's like the super spiritual person. They got all of the energies of the life path 11 and the life path number 22. So that's like the big joker if you're playing spades. you only got one big joker in the deck, all right? All right. So now let me run through these life paths really quick. Just read a short blurb to you guys and explain to you why now's the time. Let's see. All right. Let's deal with that. I told y'all life paths 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 22, 33. Life path 3. Why is now the good time for you to use your voice? Because it says here, the charming, and I'm reading this from numerology.com for those of y'all that want to go there. Charming, romantic, and full of creative energy. People who are born with a number 3 life path number know how to embrace life. They tend to see the world through rose-colored lenses where everything looks like an opportunity, and the chances for expression and enjoyment are endless. They have a tendency to be skilled communicators and have a knack for coming up with and sharing brilliant ideas. Okay. Life path 3 makes an excellent journalist, blogger, social media influencer, or author. If you're a life path number 3, Matt, how do I know my life path number? Add up all of the numbers in your date of birth and then reduce it down to a single number, unless that number that you reduce it to is 11, 22, or 33. That's how you get your life path number. Okay. Using today's date, for example, if you have a child born on 7/20/2025, then we know 2025 is 9. Put that off to the side. Okay. The 7 plus 9 is the 7 for June. You add that to that 9 for the year. 7 plus 9 is 16. And then at 20, you drop the 0 from it and just add the 2. So you got 7 and 9 is 16 plus 2 is 18. 1 plus 8 is 9. That's how you do that. So if you had a child that was born today, they would be a life path number 9. That's how that works. That's how you get your life path number. Add up all the digits in your date of birth. That is month, day, year. So MMDDYYYY. Add all of those numbers together and try to reduce it to a single number, unless that last number that you added, that number that you get when you added them up to, is 11. Okay. Or if you reduce it down and it gets to 11 and not 2, you don't do that extra reduction. You leave it at 11 or 22 or 33. It's kind of how that works. So anyway, that's how you get your life path number for those who are curious. So that was life path 3 I just read. Let's go to life path number 5. People with a 5 life path number on a lifelong adventure. They're ready for anything and want to soak up every experience this world has to offer. Life path 5 people tend to learn by living and don't allow themselves to get stuck in any situation that has outworn its interest. The moment things start to get humdrum, a person with this life path will move on to something more fascinating. Now, again, it talked about learning. Learning is a third house function. But at the same time, I just told you why with life path 5. 5 is the number that goes to the throat chakra, and it is a number of activation. So the life path 5 has an underreported ability to speak things into existence. The 5th house is the house of creativity. It's ruled by Leo, ruled by the sun. The sun is an activator. The sun activates life. That is chakra number 5. You speak it into existence. And the 5th house is the house of creativity and activation. It's ruled by the sun. So if you got a life path 5, now's the time to use your voice to speak things into existence. Life path number 7. People born with a life path 7 are eternal students of the universe. Student. There's that third house energy again. People born with the life path 7 are eternal students of the universe. They are introspective individuals with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, and they enjoy looking into the inner workings of things. What do you do when you find out the inner workings of things? You got to share it. Someone with this life path is a true thinker who lets their mind lead the way. I told you the 3rd house rules over the conscious mind. The 12th house rules over the subconscious mind. Anyway, pretty much from the moment of birth, they are able to skillfully combine the exacting side of their brain with their divine intuitive side to learn about, process, and make sense of life itself. Okay. And it gets more into the spirituality of that life path number 7. And I told you guys about that. Life path 8, I explained it to you. Life path number 8, personality, is one of hard work and hard lessons. People born with this life path number get their worth from accomplishing great things. The bigger the goal, the more satisfying it feels when they achieve it. Money and material goods are important to them because they are rewards and reminders of all the effort put in. People with this life path direct all their energy into creating a life of success and abundance. The voice leads to creation. What do I want? I speak it. Boom. Life path number 8 has the ability to magnetize it to itself. 8 is the number of magnetic energy as well. The eighth house ruled by Scorpio, magnetism, attracting things to it. This is why I said the life path 8 can think it or speak it and get it. Now's the time to use the voice. Life path number 9. There's a special kind of magic that follows people born with a 9 life path number. They embody the wisdom of the sage, but not by chance. They have fought their way through many challenges to reach this point and have gained immeasurable strength and awareness along the way. Life path number 9 people will often find themselves in a position of providing support and advice, and this feels natural to them. The knowledge they have gained can be incredibly valuable to others on their own journeys. Okay? How can that be valuable to others if you don't speak? Speak. Use your voice. Use your voice. Life path number 11. People with the 11 life path are unbelievably intuitive and may even exhibit psychic abilities. Their purpose is to use these gifts to better humanity. But it could take a long time before people born with this life path number, to truly understand the power they possess. That's number 11. You got to speak, though. How can you share the wisdom of the sage if you don't communicate it? Number 22. Life path number 22 is called the Master Builder because it has a very special power to turn nebulous dreams into concrete realities. These people are spiritually connected and feel both a responsibility and a burden to use their cosmic gift to better the future of our world. And though it may take years to master their life purpose, what a 22 life path can achieve is exceptional. But you got to activate it. Activate it with sound. Sound activates. Sound activates. And finally, 33. I told you they're rare, but I'll say it. Birthdays that add up to a life path 33 are very rare. It takes a specific and uncommon combination of numbers in a person's birth date to add up to this number. Anyone born with this life path number are known as master teachers. They are healers and great spiritual leaders devoted to showing others how to connect to their own heart and consciousness. How do you do that without speaking? How do you do it without speaking? So, y'all got the life path numbers. I gave you the placements that are supercharged right now. If you got planets in the 3rd house, now it's go time, baby. If you got planets in Gemini, it's go time, baby. If you got planets in Sagittarius, it's go time, baby. If you got your 3rd house in Gemini or Sagittarius, it's go time, baby. If you got your 3rd house in Scorpio, it's go time, baby. If your North Node is in the 3rd house, it's go time, baby. If your North Node is in Gemini or Sagittarius, it's go time, baby. And if you're a life path number 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 22, or 33, it's go time, baby. Use your voice. There's no time like the present. There's no time like the present. Look at your sidereal chart. I know I don't deal with sidereal astrology. I might do it 2%. 2%. I'm 98% of the time I'm in tropical, but I cannot ignore the current sidereal transit being in Gemini. This was the importance of me coming on here, sharing this with you guys. All right. So that's all I got. I'm going to read some comments now. Thank y'all for being here. Let's see. All right. Where did I pick up? Where did I leave off? Let's see. Oh, okay. She said, I'm talking about that scripture you read about the Most High that does not want everybody to repent. It's there. Look up Isaiah chapter 6. Read Isaiah chapter 6. And then I forget the chapter in Matthew. Somebody can put this in the chat if you know it. I don't feel like looking it up right now. But it's the one where his disciples asked him why he spoke to the people in parables. And he explained to them why he spoke to them in parables and not plain language. Okay? It doubled down on Isaiah chapter 6. All right. Remember in Romans, I believe it's the 9th chapter, he says that it is written that the creator created the wicked as vessels fit for destruction. What does that mean? That means that sometimes the creator gets pissed and he wants to throw a glass into a wall and shatter it. Okay? He doesn't want to throw one of his good glasses. He'd rather throw a glass that's fit for destruction. So guess that's what the wicked are there for. Y'all wonder why there are wicked people in the world? So we can have somebody to destroy. The universe is balanced. There's a time to kill, a time to heal. That's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. All right? Time to be born, a time to die. All right? A time to plant, a time to pluck up. People always treating the creator like he's this big, lovable, squishy toy that just wants to love on everybody. Nah, sometimes he want to up. Sometimes he want to do that too. Dad, sorry if you saw that. Sorry, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. I was created the way I was created for a purpose. Sometimes the Most High just want some up. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Where's that? Where is that? I'm wrapping up, and I'm going to show y'all this. Let's see. Let's do Romans real quick. I'm going to show it to you because I can show you better than I can tell you. Romans chapter 9. I believe that's around verse 22. Yeah. Right there. Let me show this to y'all. Let me show this to y'all. I got to highlight it. Romans 9 and 22. All right. What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? That is a passage of scripture where the writer is pontificating. He's pondering, what if the reason that wicked people exist is so that the Most High can make his power known? So he endures with much long suffering, patience, these vessels of wickedness that are fit for destruction. That actually feeds back into Isaiah the 6th chapter. You want to know why he lets them? People say, well, if there's a God, why does he let all of these bad things happen in the world? It's because he's the creator. He can do whatever he wants to do. He can do whatever he wants to do. If you're building a house, what is your next door neighbor? Who is your next door neighbor to come down here and say, I don't want you building that screened-in porch on the front side of your house. That needs to go on the back side. And you in the country, there's no homeowners association or anything like that. You want a screened-in porch on the front. Who's your neighbor to come tell you where to put your screened-in porch? There's no HOA. It's zoned rural. You can do what you want to do. Right? Same way. The creator. You bake a cake. You say, you know what? I want chocolate icing on this cake. Who is somebody to come along and say, no, I don't want chocolate icing on that cake. You should make that lemon. Who are you to tell me what to do with my cake? What if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction, and that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy? See what I just said? The universe is balanced. I'm a destroy some, I'm a bless some others, which he had aforetime or afore prepared unto glory, even us whom he had called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. Let's not get into that whole argument because some people gonna want to take that south. I ain't got time for that. Just read it as written. You do what you will with it. Do what you will with it. Everything's balanced. Let me take you here. Let me take you to where this passage of scripture, and actually I never even saw the connection until tonight. I never saw the connection. Let's go to Isaiah 6. Let's start at chapter. Let's start at verse 8. Let's start at verse 5. Start at the beginning. Let's read this real quick. Isaiah 6:1. In the year that King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord sitting upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Above it stood the seraphims. Each one had 6 wings. With twain or two, he covered his face, and with twain, he covered his feet, and with twain, he did fly. So the seraphim covered his face with 2, his feet with 2, and then used 2 to fly. And one cried into another and said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. The whole earth is full of his glory. Meaning, hey, everything that he designed here, it's got his signature on it. This whole earth has got his signature on it. It's full of his glory. Okay. And the post of the door moved at the voice of him that cried, and the house was filled with smoke. And then said I, woe is me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For mine eyes have seen the King, the Lord of hosts. Then flew one of the seraphims unto me, having a live coal in his hand, which he had taken with the tongs from off the altar. And he laid it upon my mouth and said, Lo, this hath touched thy lips, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Okay, error, sin, error, iniquity, out of balance, lack of equity, not being out of balance. That's what iniquity means. Okay, and thine iniquity is taken away, and thy sin purged. Also I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Whom shall I send, and who will go for us? Then said I, here am I, send me. And he said, okay, bet, this is what I want you to do for me. Now that you volunteered, cool. This is what I want you to do. I want you to go and tell these people, hear ye indeed, but understand not. And see ye indeed, but perceive not. Make the heart of this people fat, and make their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their heart, and convert and be healed. Right? So he didn't want that. He didn't want that for them. He didn't want that for them. The Messiah doubled down on it. What did he say? What did he say? Let's see. Matthew 13:10. All right, let's go there. Matthew 13:10. This will be the last scripture passage I read, y'all. And then I'm going to finish up with the comments, and we'll get out of here. Thank y'all for being here tonight. Y'all know I don't see y'all often, so I got to give y'all that extra time when I do see y'all. All right, let's see. Share. All right. Matthew 13:10. Let me make sure it's on the screen. Yes, it is. And the disciples came unto him and said, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it's not given. See, he went deeper into clarifying it. Let me read that again. He said, I'm speaking to them in parables because it's given to you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. But to them, they ain't gonna get it. It's gonna go right over their head. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. Have what? An ear to hear. And he shall have more abundance. See what I'm saying? When he give them that activation, they gonna hear it and understand it and increase their abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even what he has. Hath not what? Ears to hear and eyes to see. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing, see not, and hearing, they hear not, neither do they understand. This is why some of these Christian folk who get upset because I'm on here talking to y'all about astrology and scripture and tying them together, it ain't given to them to hear it. Maybe they some of these old wicked souls from the old world that need to get dealt with in this time. Oops, did I rub somebody the wrong way? Verse 13 again. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing not, they seeing, see not, and hearing, they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Esaias, which I just read to y'all from chapter 6 in Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and shall not perceive. I don't know why I put a D on the end of that. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. They tired of hearing, man. I don't want to hear no more of that. Their hearts are waxed gross, man. I ain't got no feeling for that, man. Get that away from me. Okay? For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. Lest at any time, or they have closed. Let me put that in the right context. Lest at any time they should see with their eyes. Okay. Let me come back. Let me walk that back and correct that. Okay. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. Why are they dull of hearing? They were made dull of hearing by that spell. By that spell that the Most High had Isaiah cast on them. Yes, that was a spell. Some people don't want to hear that. Spells, that's what wicked people do. Spells are words. What do you think the gospel is? They dropped the D out of it. It's the God spell. It's the spell that breaks all spells below it. Or it supersedes all spells below it, depending on the application that he intended. depending on the intent of the creator. Y'all go hold that. For this people's heart is waxed gross, verse 15 again, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. So he came after Isaiah as an ambassador for the galactic universal I am presence. And he said, look, if they hear this and understand it, see it, hear it, and understand it with their heart, and should be converted, in other words, they repent and turn from their ways, then I got to heal them. But I ain't come here to heal them. I need to keep them asleep. They got a job to do. Their job is to keep building up this karma so I can finish them off later in the end time, which is the time we in right now. Verse 16, but blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. He talking to some of y'all watching this channel right now. Some of y'all get it before I can finish putting the point out. Some of y'all got it. A lot of y'all, I'm learning from y'all. All right. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see and have not seen them. Let me modernize that. For verily I say unto you that many pastors and bishops have desired to see these things which you see, my spiritual people watching this, that have eyes to see and ears to hear. Many of them have desired to see these things that you see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear and have not heard them. All right. All right. I could go on, but I'm gonna stop there. That's Matthew, the 13th chapter. Y'all check that out on your own time. So I took you all the way around the block to deal with that. But Hot Shot, that was a great point that you brought up. So and again, the importance of using your voice in this season. If she doesn't drop that comment, somebody needed to hear what I just read. Somebody needed to hear what I just read. But I'm not reading that if Hot Shot ain't got this comment right here. Are y'all seeing real time how this stuff works? I don't come on here and make this stuff up, y'all. I only give y'all what's poured into me. I'm just a vessel. You can't make this stuff up. I hope y'all are seeing real time the principle that I just illustrated on here. If Hot Shot doesn't drop that comment right there, I don't even share that passage of scripture. And somebody out there needed to see that and hear it. Let me keep going. Thank you, Hot Shot. Cassandra said, hey, Matt, and chat late here, but I'll play the beginning back and have live ends. I hope everyone's well. Thank you, Cassandra, for being here. Thank you for being here. She said, speaking of 5, I selected pump 5 to get my gas this evening. Hello. He said, can you do 6, 16, 19, 88? You know what? Why not? I'll do that for you. Normally I don't, but I'll do that for you, John. I'll do that. Stand by 1 second. Stand by. Normally I don't, because I don't like to open up a can of worms, but you know what? Ask and it shall be given, right? Let me do this real quick for you, John. Hang on 1 second, because that was my favorite uncle's name, who's not here anymore, but he's here in spirit all the time, of course. But yeah, that's my favorite uncle's name. So you know what, John, today is your auspicious day. Let me see. Where are we? We're doing Astro Seek. Let's see. All right. And you said that was, let me take that off of there. 6/16/88. 16/6 June 1988. All right, I'll do this one. Let's see. Did you give me a time? No, you didn't give a time, but that's okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So no time. And it's because you didn't give me the time, the city doesn't matter. So I'll just put Dallas, Texas. Why not? All right. So it's a lot of Gemini energy there. Well, that's I'm not looking at I'm looking at the tropical, not the sidereal. Let's change it to sidereal. Still Gemini. Okay. All right, John, here you go, my friend. If you're still on, here you go. I'll put it on the screen for you. I think that's it. Let me make sure that's the right one. Yeah. All right, John. Depending on what time the birth time is, that moon changes from either changes from Gemini to Cancer. It just depends on what time the birth time is, but you don't have to give me that. You got Gemini in the sun, potential Gemini moon, and let's see, you got a bunch of Sagittarius here. Saturn is Sagittarius, Uranus, Neptune. These you're kind of going to want to know what the houses are, and you won't know the house unless you have unless you know the time, birth time, and birth location. But don't give it to me because that's getting a little bit too personal. I don't want to put that on the screen in front of everybody, unless you don't care. But I'm not gonna belabor the lie for that. But there you go. So you got some instruction. Hey, use your voice. Use your voice, John. You got a sidereal sun in Gemini. You potentially have more than likely have a sidereal moon in Gemini, and so get it done, bro. You got a Chiron in Gemini too. Chiron is the wounds that we came here to heal. So there's no time like the present to use your voice, John. No time like the present to use your voice. All right. Let's see. Beauty, of course, said miracles are earned. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes they're granted. Sometimes they're granted. Cassandra, Life Path 5. Good. You know what to do. She said, I've been testing out and observing my gifts. Life Path 8. Keep sharpening them, Lady Dagger Status. Keep sharpening them. I'm right there. I'm a Life Path 8 too. I'm right there with you. Said that is so true for me. Yup. Cassandra said, Matt, I'm picking up the urgency in your voice. The moment I clicked on, I most definitely will be listening to the replay. Get it done. Get it done. You're doing it for yourself, but you're also doing, you don't know who you're doing it for. Yeah, this is the end game. It's time. You know what? I tell y'all, I've heard me say this before. What is Matt doing? Matt is racking up bonus points. I know this show is almost over. All you gotta do is look around the earth and see what's happening. Look at the earth purging herself. Look at the water that's happening. I heard Joni Petrie bring this up, and I'm like, she said this went over her head. It went over my head too. Neptune rules over water, and Neptune moved into the sign of Aries earlier this year. If you're looking at the tropical side of it, Neptune moved into Aries. What is Aries? Aries is the warrior. Neptune and Saturn were both in Aries. Saturn is karma. So you got karma coming in the form of water being weaponized. This is the end game, y'all. This is about to flip. It ain't no end of the world. People say the end of the world. No, the end of one is just the beginning of the new. 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of the world to follow. That's why I told y'all looking at religion and the banking system and all of these systems of control, they're going away. They're going away with Esau. I'm not getting into that. I'm not getting into that tonight. Karen said, thanks, Matt. Lots of information to absorb, especially for someone who knows it is time for me to speak. Pisces, number 5, life path number 5. Okay, you know what to do. You know what to do. You know what to do. I come on here, y'all, to urge y'all into action. Y'all know, a lot of y'all that watch me, you came here, you were put here in the same time as me to do certain things. I got my thing I came here to do. Y'all got y'all stuff y'all came here to do. All you got to do is hear it and activate it. And then go and do y'all, man, the stuff y'all doing, y'all touching people's lives that I'm never going to meet. Y'all are touching people's lives that I'm never going to meet. That's why the creator had you find my channel. I'm just a vessel. Y'all know my story. Sometimes I write, look here. What Taurus girl said the other night, she said, I see Taurus energy in. I be real calm. I'm not a Taurus, but my 8th house is in Taurus, and your 8th house is, among other things, is how you recharge. So I work a lot. I need to recharge more. But when I get in that Taurus energy, it's like a battery. It's like somebody plugged me into a battery pack, and I'm getting recharged. All right? And all these fake gurus, no ears and no eyes, and most definitely have no inner or overstanding. Absolutely. You nailed that. You nailed that. My pleasure, Hotshot. My pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. She said 11:11. I completely missed that. It was 11:11. It's 11:17 now. I got to get off here. I've been on here 2 hours and 44 minutes. Where did the time go, y'all? I didn't think I've been on here that long. That's crazy. I did not think I've been on here that long, y'all. Let me wrap up. She said, thank you, Matt. I anticipated this live. Amazing. Lots to focus on. You got it. My pleasure. We'll re-listen. I think you covered Life Path 7. I did, Hotshot. All right, y'all. I'm going to wrap up real quick. Normally when I go this long, I like to give it about 2 days before I go live again. But I have to go live tomorrow. You're welcome, Karen. I have to go live tomorrow because I got to share with y'all. We're activating the pre-order for the pre-release copies of my new book, which I will name for you guys tomorrow. It's already been titled. The cover artwork is already done, and it will be active. The link will be active on my website to take pre-orders that will be delivered around mid next month. Y'all, it's getting late. Mid-August, okay? So a lot of y'all see me tomorrow, y'all. We're gonna talk about problem solving tomorrow. We're gonna talk about how your chart speaks to how you uniquely solve problems, and I promise you it won't be as long as tonight's video, okay? All right. What's on tomorrow? Same bad time, same bad channel, hotshot. 8:30. 8:30 seems to be the sweet spot for me. So I'm gonna go with 8:30, and I'll see y'all back on here tomorrow at 8:30. Until then, if you haven't done so already, on your way out, please tap that like button for me. And if you're new to this channel and you like being entertained, educated, uplifted, inspired, she said, oh, that timestamp wasn't to rush you, Matt. I was nothing free. No, I didn't think you were rushing me, Cassandra. I didn't think you were. I just happened to look up and notice it. And I was just like, I know that you noticed the synchronicity 11:11. I talked about that earlier, the 11:11 and how that applies to that divine counterpart connection, union, relationship type of thing that this forthcoming book, this soon to be released book is about. So that's a part of that. But I noticed that 11:11. I just noticed that you noticed that. But no, I didn't think that you were pushing me. So not at all. Not at all. I just looked. I was surprised at the time at how long I've been on here, because it didn't feel like that to me. I'm just rambling. I'm thinking literally before I looked up at how much time it had gone. I thought that I was a little bit over 2 hours, maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes. I didn't think that I'd gone that much further, but it is what it is, y'all. Y'all that watch me, y'all know I appreciate the love y'all give me. I'm not on here all the time, so what I do in one live still pales in comparison to what other content creators do on a daily basis. There are some content creators, they do 2 1-hour videos a day, and they're doing these videos 4 or 5 days a week. So, you talking about 8-10 hours worth of content in 1 week. If I give y'all, 2 hours here, 1 hour there, it is what it is. So but I do appreciate y'all. She said it went by fast, so I appreciate it. John, you're very welcome, and thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. JoJo says, see y'all tomorrow, Mods, and you got it, JoJo. You got it. So thank y'all again. If you're new to the channel and you like being educated, uplifted, inspired, entertained, please hit that subscribe button and make sure that you have your notification bell set to all, so you'll be notified when I upload new content. And last but not least, y'all, I say this all the time. Well, second to last but not least, tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it, right? Love is a verb. It's a noun as well. But when we focus on the verb form of the word, the noun form always takes care of itself. It always does. All right. And last but not least, I say this all the time. I'm going to keep saying it, y'all, until we hear them trumpets sound. Okay. Until we hear them trumpets sound, I'm going to keep saying this. Authenticity is the only way you are going to arrive at and achieve your destiny. If you are not being authentically you, then who in the hell are you? Who are you? You have to be authentic. Authenticity is an extremely high vibration. And authenticity comes with its own bag. Sometimes people don't like you in your authentic, who you are authentically. But guess what? As my late aunt used to say, tough titty. You be you. You be you. If they don't like you, they ain't mad at. If they don't like you and you're operating in your authenticity and you ain't out here bothering nobody, aside from your light disturbing their demons, you ain't out here bothering nobody, then their beef with you is the beef with who created you. It really ain't with you. It's with who created you. So you just simply step out of the way and let karma take her course. That's it. That's it. That's all I got, family. I love y'all. Again, tap the like button on the way out if you haven't done so already. I love you guys. I'll see you guys back on here tomorrow, where we'll be talking about how you solve problems based on your natal chart. All right. Talk to y'all later. And then we'll be back on tropical. Okay. I'm gonna get off this sidereal. We'll be back on tropical. But y'all take care. Y'all have a good night. I love you guys. Peace.